Hello friends, welcome to Universe of Naruto X. If you love Naruto What If stories and anime explanations, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now let's begin today's story. The glow emanated by the flames mimicked that of Hashiyama's life and weakened as the night went on. In his last days, a sudden illness had caught him. All his life, the first had relied on his cell's ability to divide beyond the lick limit in order to regenerate quickly. His healing factor came at a cost. However, his lifespan was shortened, though in his youth, a time of constant strife and violence, this seemed trivial. Besides, he had already done all that he had set out to do, and a man as great as he did not see the necessity in living longer, for he was assured that his will of fire had been SSED on safely, entrusted to the capable hands of his brother. It's almost time, Mido, said Hashiyama. The red-haired woman sitting next to his bed placed a finger on his lips, silencing him. Her eyebrows were knitted with worry. You should rest, Hashiyama, replied the Uzumaki. In spite of what she said, as a skilled sensor, she could feel her husband's life force slipping away, and no amount of resting would prevent death. He was right. Cliché as it was, memories of his life flashed by his eyes. If there was anything memorable, it was surely his friendship and rivalry with Uchiha Mater. There was no relationship quite like theirs. They were the closest of friends in their youth, and in adulthood, the fiercest of enemies. It was contradictory, yet it had still happened, almost as if it was predestined. A nostalgic smirk formed on his lips. Damn you, Moa, of all the things I'm thinking about before I leave this place. The last rays of light reached his eyes, and the torches on the walls went out. Flames extinguished like that of Hashiyama's life. Midito placed a hand on his head and closed his eyelids as a mark of respect for the deceased. A grand funeral would be held. Uematsu Hiroasaka, the dead Hokage, opened his eyes, realizing that he was on the road to Yomi. The region was cloaked in darkness, and it was every bit as miserable as he had imagined it to be. Time to atone for my sins. Up ahead was the first court of hell ruled by King Shinko. The complex was a structure which displayed the hallmarks of traditional Japanese architecture with thick wooden pillars and a giant tiled roof. The main doorway was huge as well, opening up into a large hall filled with demonic attendants and a titanic man comparison with the regalia of a death god. Senju Hashiyama, the king bellowed. The Hokage knelt down to the Shinigami on the marble floor, something that was distinctly different from the rest of the otherwise purist design of the court. Hi, Shinko-sama. The king's brows furrowed. You are a special case. You are the transmigrant of Asatsuki Ashura, a good man with an unresolved feud with his brother Indra. Indra was reincarnated into Uchiha Matera, who still lives at this very moment with both the chakra of Indra and Ashura, as he had managed to obtain your DNA. This will grant him the Renegan, but he won't last long either. I see, Hashiyama replied evenly. Years of being the leader of Konohagakure allowed him to contain the shock of learning this, as with every piece of bad news he had received during his tenure. On hindsight, Mater's dojutsu visual prowess had been extremely powerful, and the Senju was not foolish enough to think that it was beyond his capabilities to survive the death match using one of the many Keijutsu forbidden techniques in his clan's arsenal. He had heard of one called the Izanagi. It was one of those jutsu you never wanted even your weakest foe to possess, for it made him nigh invincible. You shall now be checked for your sins and good deeds. Step before the mirror of retribution, King Shinko ordered, snapping him out of his thoughts. The soul of the Shodai went in front of the mirror, which began reflecting his past life. As a shinobi, he had killed and injured many, but was a great and honorable man as well as a venerable leader. Well, then, your good deeds outweigh your crimes of killing. However, you won't cross the Silver Bridge to Tengoku Paradise. You have unfinished business and will be sent to King 10 of the 10th Court for reincarnation. Go, the Shinigami commanded. Hashiyama or Ashura stepped away from the mirror with understanding. He now knew his purpose in life and was determined to resolve this feud with Indra in the next life, whoever he may be. 10th Court of Hell. King Tenon received Hashiyama at his court. The king said, I shall now send you off for reincarnation. But before that, another deity appeared before him. It was Granny Men. She passed him a cup of tea which he gladly consumed. This tea will take effect immediately after transmigration. You will forget everything in your past life. The king informed him calmly. Do not be afraid. Ashura's chakra shall cling to your next life and if it so happens may awaken. And now follow me. The king strolled to a wooden wheel which had 6 sectors. Each was intricately carved with a particular design. One was of a diva or god-like being. The next was of an Ashura, a powerful armored demon. The third was of a human. The fourth depicted an animal, while the fifth showed a pra or hungry ghost. And the last and the least, being the lowest of all realms of existence, showed Naraka, the path of hell. King Tenon placed his hand atop the wheel of destiny and spun it. But before it even stopped, Hashiyama already knew what he was fated to be in his next life. For there was only one path which allowed for such pleasure and suffering, yet rationality in spite of it all. The wooden wheel slowed down, then ground to a halt at the ninja human path sector as a shimmer of light enveloped him. The Shinigami smiled. Yeah. And thus began the life of Uzumaki Naruto in the small village of Kanahagaka. No sad. After the Kaiba attack, the Sandaime Hokage was reinstated. As there was currently no suitable candidate, Hirozen took it upon himself to take care of his successor's son, but his duties limited him from doing so extensively. As such, Na was sent to the orphanage with his parentage kept secret. It was done in order to keep his father's enemies at bay. However, this had an adverse effect as the village's citizens held immense hatred for the Kaiba because it claimed the lives of many loved ones. Since they couldn't kill it, they did the next best thing and ostracized its Jinchuriki. By the age of 6, he was kicked out of the orphanage and was given a small apartment by the Sandaime who visited him regularly to ensure things were running smoothly. This meant that he had to survive on his own with only the clothes on his back provided by the Hokage and food that he could buy. Anything else was unaffordable for he had very little allowance. Whenever the villagers saw him on the streets, they spat at the clueless toddler. Venomous words filled their mouths and even merchants and vendors refused to sell things to him. Those that did sold it at exorbitant prices, and they sneered when the young child realized he could not afford any of it. They then kicked him out of the store, stating that demons were not welcome. It got so serious that the Sandaime took notice and passed a law to prevent the people from calling him a demon on pain of death. The aim was also for Naruto to be kept unaware of his tenant, lest he was really led to think that he was a demon. Hai even sent a personal team of Anbu to watch the boy 247 in case the villagers gained any thoughts of injuring the innocent child. Alas, since they could not openly attack him verbally or physically, the villagers then did the worst thing imaginable. They deprived him of friends by telling their children to stay from that child, effectively isolating him. The poor, lonely boy was only accepted by one store, Ikyaku Ramen. It was a simple ramen stand run by a 50-year-old man named Tuki and his young daughter, Ayami. Whenever the rains were too heavy or the nights too cold, Naruto sought refuge at the stand, the only establishment that would not turn high. Away. There, he was treated to a nice, warm bowl of ramen, while the friendly waitress talked to Naruto as if he was her younger brother. This led to Naruto calling her Ayame-ni-chan. Not that she minded as she knew that the boy was desperate for familial love. He had no family or friends and that was really something that she found sad. And so they continued to provide such a service for all the years in Naruto's childhood until he was old enough to be independent. On the same year he was kicked out of the orphanage. Na began to train to enter the academy. At first, it was just running around the village, but as time passed, it evolved to push-ups, sit-ups, handstands, and shuriken throwing. Every day, the amount of repetitions increased till he was dead beat. But even as he collapsed on the concrete, he ended every day with a smile, knowing that he had spent it well improving. After countless applications and bugging his grandfather figure, the Sandaime, he was finally allowed to enter the academy at age 9, a year earlier than his peers entered the school. Even then, his teachers were ruthless, withholding teaching materials and even kicking him out of the class for the slightest reason. The boy never knew why all this while and ended up failing the 2-year course where he was supposed to graduate at 11. He failed the final exam and had to retake the year's course. By then, his peers of the same age just finished their first year, so he had to take his final year together with them. Fortunately, he had a nice teacher this year. The instructor's name was Yumino Yuruka. Although he saw Naruto as a nuisance in class due to all the pranks he pulled and disruptions he caused, the Chunin understood that Naruto was seeking attention because of his sad childhood. Because of that, he decided to treat him better than the other teachers did and taught him properly, only telling him off lightly when absolutely needed. He eventually became a surrogate brother to the young blonde, even occasionally treating him to ramen after class. Iruka strongly instilled the will of fire in him, influencing Naruto to want to be Hokage. Oh, what an irony. For in his past life, he was the one who created the will of fire that would be passed down for many generations to come. At the end of it, Na was still a happy boy. However, he was treated as the dead last in class because he could not graduate the previous year. The reason was simply this. Naruto could not perform the Bunshin no Jutsu clone jutsu, one of the 3 basic academy techniques that every student was required to execute in order to graduate as a genin. For that, he was deemed as a failure. But no one realized that it was because he had too much chakra to control properly, a result of what he was holding in his body. Na wasn't very concerned about that and instead chose to focus on the rest of the shinobi arts such as taijutsu, body technique, and fujutsu, the 2 arts which didn't require much chakra control. Many of his classmates thought him to be a loser except a select few. Aburame Shino, Narukamaru, Akamaiki Choji, and Hyuga Hanatada. They were all the children of their clan's clan heads, as were most of the others in the class. Uchiha Sayuri was top of the class. She was the daughter of the Konoha military police force chief, Uchiha Fugaku. However, due to an incident where her brother, Uchiha Itachi, massacred the entire clan, Sori was an emo princess hellbent on revenge to restore her clan's reputation. Na disliked her because she always looked down on him, calling him Dobby, dead last, or Ujiratoni loser. Haruno Sakura was born from a civilian family. She had no skills whatsoever except for being book smart. She was Sori's fangirl and hated Naruto with a passion, believing him to be useless as well. Naruto disliked Sakura or any of Sori's fangirls for that matter. Inuzuka Kiba was the son of the Inuzuka clan head, Inuzukam. He was loud and brash as well as impulsive. However, he had skills when it came to taijutsu, as well as being proficient in his clan's Enjutsu ninja technique. His companion was Akamaru, a Ninken ninja dog, which was what everybody in his clan possessed. Apart from some minor arguments, Naruto got along well with the Inuzuka and he considered the blonde to be a rival. Yes, he still looked down on him, but it was all in the name of rivalry. Aburame Shino, son of Aram Shibi, the Aburame clan head, was a stoic individual. He was quite capable in taijutsu and specialized mainly in clan's techniques, which involved using insects in their bodies. Don't ask why or how. Shino was intelligent and calm, something which Naruto respected, but he found him too quiet to outright befriend him. Hyuga Hinata, daughter of the Hyuga clan head, Hyuga Hyashi, was a very shy and meek kunoichi. As a result, she had low self-confidence in her abilities and frequently stuttered in her speech. This worsened when Naruto was in the vicinity as she held affections for the blonde boy. Na, being dense to the opposite feelings, treated her as a good friend. Her specialty was her clan's Juken Gentle Fist, a taijutsu style which utilized the Hyuga's Kek Genka bloodline limit. The Byakugan which allowed the user to see through most things as well as a person's chakra pathway system. Na Shikimaru, son of Na Shikaku, the Na clan head, was a super intelligent but lazy person. He called everything a drag, choosing to sleep in class. However, when it came down to it, his brains allowed him to easily outmaneuver opponents through strategies that predicted many possibilities 100 steps ahead. As such, he aced written tests with ease and easily beat down opponents, albeit only those whom he were forced to fight. His skills lay mainly in his clan's Enjutsu, which allowed him to manipulate shadows. Na got along with him just fine. Akamaiki Choji, son of the Akamaiki clan head Chose, was round. He adored eating food, and his clan's techniques involved converting calories into chakra, which granted them super strength and expansion. Na found his eating habits slightly repulsive, but as he was nice to him, he returned the feelings. Yamanaka, daughter of Inoiki, the Yamanaka clan head, was another of Suri's fangirls. She was poor at taijutsu and only had one jutsu in her arsenal, her clan's Shinton no Jutsu, mind-body switch J. Utsu. She disliked Naruto as well, finding him annoying because of the disruptions in class. As with Sakura, Naruto could not get along with Ino. Regardless, it was soon time to graduate. As the year passed by quickly, once again, the genin exams were held, and the passing criteria was the ability to perform the Academy 3, the Henge no Jutsu, Transformation Jutsu, Kawaii no Jutsu, Substitution Jutsu, and the hated Bunchen no Jutsu. It was a bright afternoon and most of the Academy students were well prepared for the test. Usuzuaki Na, an instructor called the Blonde, stood up glumly and entered the examination room where two other tunins, Yuruka and Mizuki, were invigilators. Aruka smiled at him. Narrate, show us the Henge, requested the kind sensei. The Uzuaki nodded and formed the ram hand seal picturing his idol. He called Hench. Chakra flowed around him and smoke filled the air. When it cleared, it revealed the Yandame Hokage. Good job, Uruka praised, noting it down. Now that he thought about it, Narate did have an uncanny resemblance to the fourth. Mizuki ordered, execute the Kawaii no Jutsu. Na, without hand seals, swapped with a chair nearby. Impressive, Mizuki stated, giving him the point as well as extra credit for doing it without hand seals. Aruka gave the biggest challenge. Perform the Bunchen no Jutsu. Na. The blonde gained a determined look on his face, for he was not going to fail this time. Bunchen no Jutsu. Na shouted in a plume of smoke. A clone appeared beside him. Specifically on the floor and sickly pale. Aruka shook his head, sighing sadly. I'm sorry, Na. You have failed this jutsu and will have to retain again. Mizuki reasoned. Let's not do that. Uruka-san. He did try his best and even made a clone, albeit non-functioning. Look, I can't pass him if he can't complete a basic technique such as the clone jutsu. Others made perfect functioning clones, so why should we have double standards? I'm afraid he has failed again and will need to be sent back to the academy. Na. You are dismissed. Naruto's shoulders slumped sadly as he walked out of the room, downtrodden. He sat on the swing in front of the academy feeling like, this was a stark contrast to the huge crowd of genins in front of the academy entrance celebrating the graduation. Proud parents congratulating their children, something Na envied a lot, for he did not even have family. Behind him, he sensed the presence of Mizuki. Na, don't be so sad. I have another way for you to pass. Are you interested? He perked up immediately. What is it, sensei? Well, it's a secret assignment for genins, so you must not let anyone else know. Okay. Na nodded enthusiastically. Mizuki whispered, you must steal the forbidden Fu and no show scroll of sealing from the Hokage residence and meet me at the northern forests by 7 this evening. All right. Na agreed and went back home to rest while preparing for the mini task. Northern forests. 6:50 p.m. Naruto broke into the forest line and panted hard. He had successfully stolen the scroll, but was pretty sure multiple shinobi were on his tail. Perhaps that was part of the test. Realizing he still had around 10 minutes, Naruto decided to open the scroll and learn some moves. The first he came across was a technique invented by the Nadim Hokage. It was the Cage Bunch and no Jutsu Shadow Clone Jutsu, AB rank technique, which creates corporeal CL1s with a single hand seal. The user's chakra is evenly distributed among every clone, giving each clone an equal fraction of the user's overall power. The clones are capable of performing techniques on their own and can even bleed, but will usually disperse after hit by a strong enough force. The clones can also disperse on their own or be dispelled by the user of the technique. A characteristic that is unique to the Shadow Clone Jutsu is that any experience the clones gain during their existence is transferred to the user once they are dispersed. Similarly, because they are clones of the original, any chakra that the clone possesses will return to the original after being dispelled. This is an interesting technique, looks pretty easy too, thought Naruto happily. He practiced forming the hand seal and memorized the jutsu. He was about to move on to the next jutsu when he sensed a presence 30 meters away. It's Aruka-sensei, Na thought, unknowingly recognizing his chakra signature. He sealed the scroll and waited patiently. 10 seconds, Aruka appeared. It's over, Na. Return the scroll, the Chunin stated. You got me, Aruka-sensei. Na replied cheerfully. Do I pass now? What do you mean? What makes you think you will pass once you steal the scroll? Aruka demanded, getting slightly annoyed. Well, Mizuki-sensei said so. Oh. He's here, Na informed, detecting the other Chunin's presence. There he was, standing on the branch of a tree with 2 thumb shurikens strapped to his back. Naruto, give me the scroll, Mizuki ordered. It was at this moment that Aruka realized Mizuki had used Naruto to get the scroll of sealing. Naruto, don't listen to Mizuki. He's a traitor that just used you to get the scroll, Aruruka warned. Naruto was conflicted, his gaze switching between both instructors. Yuruka is just lying to you because he doesn't want you to have the scroll. Mizuki stated, in fact, they've been lying to you all this while. Since that decree 9 years ago, everyone knows except you. Aruka's eyes widened, knowing that he was about to reveal Naruto's Jinchuriki status. Mizuki, stop. The Chunin sneered. The decree is that no one can tell you that the 9-tailed demon fox is inside you. The fox spirit that destroyed this village 12 years ago has taken over you. Naro, you are the Kaiba no Yoko. With such a revelation, understanding dawned on the young boy. Now he knew why they stared at him as they did. His body was frozen, filled with so much hatred. He could feel something within surfacing. Mizuki smirked and grabbed multiple projectiles, launching them at Naruto. Die, demon. Aruka instantly pushed the blonde away, taking the kunais and shurikens for his favorite student. He was pinned against the wall, bleeding badly. Na watched on in helpless horror. Aruka-sensei, Naruto, just run. Yuruka urged there was no way he was going to let the scroll fall into traitorous hands. Mizuki, however, picked one Fuma shuriken off his back and threw it at Na, sure that there was no longer anybody to save him. The last thing the Uzumaki saw was a bright flash of light. Mindscape. Time freeze. When Na opened his eyes, he realized that he was in a basement of some sort, and guessing from the pipes, it was an industrial plant. The floor was flooded with water up to ankle length. There were many doorways. However, Naruto heard a low growling sound coming from one of them. It was the sound of an animal in suffering but refusing to give way for its pride. Na traced the source and came to a huge room where in the center a giant gate stood. On the center of the gate, a parchment of paper had the kanji for seal. When he neared it, the sound of growling transformed into a malicious laughter. It became clear then that it wasn't a gate. Rather, it was a cage. In the darkness behind the thick vertical bars of the cage, a single red eye opened. The creature within stepped forward, revealing itself to be a giant orange fox. Na stepped back in slight fear, for he recognized the beast. You're the Kaiba, Na said. The fox replied, indeed, I am. And you're Azuaki Na, the fleshbag who should be dead. My jailer finally comes to visit after 12 years. Ha, now came a third voice almost chiding. Kuramakan, do you have to be so rude? My patience wears thin. Ashura-san, the now named Kurama replied, say what you have to say. A young man from within the cage stepped through the bars and shook Naruto's hands. Hello, child. I take it you won't know me, for I existed at the era when chakra was discovered. In fact, the first human born with chakra was my father. Naruto racked his brains on the legends of chakra before finally saying, your father was the Rakudo Shanan, sage of 6 paths. The man nodded. That's right. My name is Azutsuki Ashura, and I am your ancestor from long ago. And you, Azuaki Na, are my transmigrant. Trans what? Na attempted to repeat transmigrant. Basically, it means that when my mortal body died, my chakra was reborn in a new vessel. That would be you, Naruto-kun. But you are not my first transmigrant. In your past life, you were the Shoai Hokage Senju Hashiyama. So, does that mean that I'm you and you're me? Na asked, slightly confused. The young man chuckled. I guess you could say that. All right, down to business, so listen carefully. My brother Indra, also reincarnated. He was Uchiha Ma before his current life. Kurama growled in anger at the name. That bastard who used the Sharingan to control him. Who is he now? Na asked. Your classmate Uchiha Saruri Ashura responded. The main point is that my brother and I have a huge unresolved feud. He believed that power was the way to peace while I believed that love was the way to peace. This conflict of beliefs would have been trivial had my father not decided to let me be his successor. My inheritance was my father's body. And so I passed that down to my descendants, the Senju, renowned for their amazing healing factor, as well as the Uzumaki, who were known for their extremely potent chakra and life force, and thus longevity. My ideals were passed down as the present-day Hino Nashi will of fire. My brother, on the other hand, inherited my father's eyes. Though not exactly the Renegan, his eyes were still powerful and mutated over the generations to what is now known as the Sharingan, wielded by his descendants, the Uchiha. His beliefs were passed down as the Uchiha clan's Nikushimi no Naroi curse of hatred, which fed on a clansman's hatred to awaken the power of their eyes, Ashura explained. So you see, you must vanquish this curse from the Uchiha clan and bring this feud to an end once and for all. I believe with your will of fire, you can overcome Suri's curse and make peace between the two of us, Ashura stated. But how I'm so weak? Na asked. Ashura's facial features became sterner than before. Listen, Narokan, you are not weak. You are merely like me, a late bloomer. You have waited patiently long enough and trained hard enough. So now you will reap your rewards. You will awaken my inheritance, the Rakudo Sen. Your chakra will be more powerful than before and will be extremely large in volume. This will come to fruition when you reach the prime of your life around 25. For now, your chakra pool is 4 times the size of a standard Junin. Next, your speed and strength will increase tenfold. The effect is instantaneous, not requiring you to wait. The last and greatest gift of this inheritance is that your body is now that of a Sen sage. So you are able to handle natural energy without turning to stone. Ashura said, as such you'll be able to use Rakudo Senodo 6 Paths Sage Mode, a state in which your other gifts will be amplified tremendously. You'll be able to manipulate all 5 elements as well as Onmyodan Yin-Yang style. And most important of all, use the Gudodama truth-seeking ball, and indispensable tool made from 7 elements. Every 3 years you can manifest 1 good Dharma. Since you are 12, that means you have 4 orbs to control. They nullify Enjutsu by using Anoten, can be shaped into a variety of forms, and the many natures comprising them can be combined to produce various effects. As the chakra comprising them is highly durable, the balls can serve as an effective defense, only taking damage from extremely powerful techniques. They can also heal you in dire times, Ashura explained. Na scratched his head, not entirely understanding the concepts, but he got the main idea. Remember, you can only use all these in 6 Paths Sage Mode. Now go, you have a sensei to save and a traitor to defeat, Ashura commanded, a smile on his face. Northern forests, time continue. A bright light enveloped Naruto as the huge Fumurican shot towards him. Na! Yuruka cried out. Suddenly, a black shield-like thing wrapped around the Uzumaki's front. The Fuma shuriken slammed into it and snapped into half. Mizuki's eyes widened. What the hell was that? He thought. Na was now glowing as he was wearing a yellow cloak of some sort, which appeared to be made of chakra. Na growled, retracting the black shield into 4 smaller black orbs, each with a purplish glow. If you ever touch my sensei again, I'll kill you. Mizuki had the nerve to smirk despite what had just transpired. You'll never defeat me, demon. I can get you in 1 punch. The 4 black orbs revolving around Naruto flew towards Mizuki and surrounded him. They then expanded rapidly, causing a bright white light to flash out as they exploded. When the smoke cleared, our unconscious Mizuki was lying on the floor. The orbs returned to their positions behind their master. Aruka-sensei, he cried, turning around. The man was quite badly injured with multiple weapons sticking out of his body. His chakra cloak dissipated as he attended to his sensei. Thanks, Na. This time you pass, Oruruka commended. I pass? Naruto asked in surprise. Yes, after I get myself patched up. How about a bowl of ramen? After all, you did save our lives, Oruruka suggested. Make that 10 bowls, Aruka-sensei. Naruto agreed happily. I foresee a hole in my pocket, Aruka joked before getting up slowly and calling for help. Soon, an Anbu team arrived and took Mizuki into custody while seeing Trukus wounds. Na, on the other hand, was asked to report to the Hoage's office. Hoage's office. The agent Hokage looked up when he noticed that Naruto had entered his office. Ah, Naruto-kun, I have called you here for you to explain that bright light and chakra cloak, I believe is the appropriate term, Hazen requested. Hokage Jiji, I would explain, but I need all your Anbu to leave the room, for it is a matter of extreme secrecy, Na replied. The Hokage was slightly shocked that Na had detected his agent's presence within the room. So, he was a Kanchi type, sensor type, and appeared to be quite skilled at it, too. He called his Anbu off and activated the privacy seals. So the Sandaime Hokage said, what is it that requires such secrecy? Na explained everything he learned from Ashura. Well, that is baffling yet interesting news, Naruto-kun. Please go home and rest well. Tomorrow you'll have your team assignments, advised Hisan. And by the way, here's your headband. Congratulations. Na took it and dismissed himself from the office. If that is really so, I should put Sori together with Naruto on a team, the Serbi thought. And who better to lead it than Hitaki Kakashi? He could teach skills of the Sharingan and would surely not want to miss out on training his sensei's son. I just hope he won't fail them. Naruto's apartment. The blonde stepped into his tiny home, greeted by the colorful language vandalized all over his front walls. He sat on his bed, just wondering what the hell had just happened. So it seemed he had unlocked some crazy powers that he could barely comprehend. You still don't understand, came Ashura's voice, startling him. Let me give you a theory lesson on the elements, specifically on Myodan to help you understand the mechanics of the Gudo Dharma. Ashura introduced, entering Professor mode. Onmodon is a combination of Yin and Yin style and Yodan Yang style. Simple. Na nodded. In chakra gives form to objects. It is in everything that requires creation such as Genjutsu or the Na clan's shadow techniques. All of them apply in chakra to create stuff out of nothing. Understood again. Naruto nodded. Yodan chakra gives life to inanimate objects. It is in every living thing and is used in Irian ninjutsu medical ninja techniques to speed up the regeneration of cells and by extension the healing process. Okay. Na nodded. This step-by-step style was interesting and made it easier to understand Ashura's teaching. When the two are combined into Anmyodan, it is possible to create anything. Within chakra creating form and Yodan chakra breathing life into it, the possibilities are endless. That's why my father had a jutsu, the Onotan Bunbutsu Yin-Yang style creation of all things which allowed the user to basically construct anything. Got it. Got it. Now this is where the Gudo Dharma comes in. By combining the shape and life of the orbs with the 5 elements simultaneously, it creates an extremely durable black orb with a life of its own. By manipulating the Inten chakra in the spheres, you can change their shape. Tweaking the Yodan chakra gives it life and allows you to control it telekinetically as well as gives them the ability to heal you. Understand. Na nodded for the final time. Ashura sighed in relief. Thank Kami. Now you understand. The Uzumaki sweat dropped. Was he really that bad? Well, he was a kinesthetic learner, so he learned by practicing it. And that was exactly what he did for the rest of the evening. The next day, Na ran to the academy with his newfound speed and made it in time. The blonde looked around and went to the only spot available next to Suri. Dobby, she said, what are you doing here? TCH graduated. Na replied, squatting on the table while glaring at her. Why is there a problem? Unbelievable. There's no way you could have passed. Uratonkuchi Sori remarked, staring at him defiantly. From behind, Ka sneakily pushed Naruto forward. The blonde fell forward, his lips smashing into Saruri's. Na was disgusted, yet her lips felt so soft. The feeling was inexplicable. Sori felt the same for Naruto's lips were gentle and just Sarashi hated to admit it but it felt nice. Both faces turned scarlet with embarrassment before they recovered and split up. Na wiped his lips thoroughly feeling slightly sick. The Uzumaki glared at the snickering Ka. Within 3 seconds he appeared behind the Inuzuka and had him in a hammerlock. Mud boy, you'll pay for this. Naruto threatened. Ka winced in pain but still managed to reply snarkily. Okay, I'm sorry but you got to admit you two looked like you were enjoying it. The last Oa glowered at the Inuzuka. If looks could kill and they could in her clan, Ka would have had his incinerated in the flames of hell. Okay, stop talking, declared Iruka as he entered the room. Na released the boy onto the floor and returned to his seat. After the customary greeting, Iruka announced, after 4 years, you have finally completed the academy course. Good job. Applause resounded in the classroom. Well, I'm sad to see you all go, but some of y'all will still be seeing each other and on a regular basis. In fact, I shall now announce the 3 teams. Starting from Team 7 since the other 6 are still in circulation, we have Uchiha, Sori, Haruno, Sakura. Suri face-palmed while Sakura cheered and Uzumaki Naruto all 3 members' faces planted on their tables. Your sensei is Hitaki Kakashi. Team 8 Inuka Kiba, Aram Shino, and Hayuka Hinata. Your sensei is Yui Karana. Ka gave a loud yahoo while Akamaru barked in approval. Team 9 is still in circulation. So Team 10, Narukamaru, Akamaiki Choji, and Yaman Nakainino. Your sensei is Serbia Asuma. Shikamaru groaned at having to team up with Ino, who was a troublesome blonde, unquote. Aruruka smiled. Well, that concludes your team assignment. Please wait here for your sensei to pick you up. Good luck on your shinobi career until we meet again. Yan. Previously, good luck on your shinobi career until we meet again. Yan. After Yuruka left the room, two jonin entered it, introducing themselves as Karani and Asuma. Taking their respective teams, they left. Naruto was left with the two irate girls in the classroom, which got worse as their sensei was late. By the first hour, Suri was already thinking of roasting this Kakashi with one of her fireballs. Sakura looked ready to scream at somebody, and it was going to be Naruto if Kakashi wasn't in sight in the next 3 minutes. Oi! Where is Kakashi-sensei? Sakura yelled out in frustration. Naruto shrugged. How would I know? I'm just as irritated as you are. Suri clicked her tongue in impatience. It was a surprising habit, but something Na found interesting. By the second hour, they were pissed off. Where the hell is this dude? Na wondered in thought. Rarely was he this angry at someone, but to be stood up for 2 freaking hours. Suri was at her rope's end. You know what? Why don't we go out as a team for lunch? Our sensei made us wait, and so we will make him wait, Naruto offered. Suri was quick to accept, willing to get the hell out of that classroom as quickly as possible. Sakura, ever the fangirl, followed her idol's decision. The trio left the room and to Naruto's favorite ramen stand. Ikyaku Ramen Oji-san the usual please called Na cheerfully as he raised the flaps of the curtain and entered the stand. Naruto-kun 1 bowl coming right up. Tuki repeated the order before signaling to his daughter. What about your 2 friends? What would you like? Suri Sakura Na asked. Suri blinked surprised that he didn't address her as T. Glancing at the menu briefly, she replied. A bowl of miso ramen with a slice of chashu, please. Sakura spoke. I'll have the same as Saruri-san. Naruto was slightly shocked. Unknowingly, the Uchiha had ordered the same as he did. Looks like they did have similar tastes in ramen after all. After 3 minutes, Ayami served Team 7. A Tadakamos. The 3 chorus, albeit softly in Saruri's case, and broke their chopsticks. They began digging into their food. This is delicious, Sakura praised cheerfully in stark contrast to her crappy mood in the classroom. I know, right? Naruto asked rhetorically. Thank you, Ayami replied to Sakura's compliment. And who's that? Your girlfriend Naruto-kun. Ayami teased in reference to Saruri, who was silently enjoying her food. At that moment, the 2 who were mentioned nearly choked on the strands in their mouths. No way. Both denied simultaneously, one blushing and the other sputtering. See, you're so compatible, teased Ayami further. No, seriously, we're not. The 2 growled out in unison before continuing with their lunch. Is that how you hide your bashfulness? Ayami joked before deciding to stop. It was easy to see why she thought so, though. Suri was a pretty teenager, having inherited her mother's beauty. She had 2 bangs framing her pale-skinned face and a long ponytail. The Uchiha was dressed in a short blue mandarin gown which ran from her shoulders to her lower thighs as well as a long left sleeve. It hugged her body and accentuated all her curves which were present even at her current age. There were slits on both sides of the skirt from her hip down to enable mobility. Though to preserve modesty, she wore mesh pants which ran to her knees and a black shirt underneath. For unknown reasons, her right arm was bare, not covered by the gown or the shirt. The only part which was covered was her right forearm, which had a black armband. Wrapped around her waist was a black sash, which had the Uchiha symbol. A pair of black boots finished her outfit. Boy, did she love black. Must have matched her hair. Na, on the other hand, was wearing a black uniform-style jacket with an orange zipper that featured several buttons on the waist and sleeves. This allowed him to fold up the left sleeve and rear coat tails, giving him easy access to the pouches on the back of his belt. He wore a red armband with the Uzumaki crest on his left arm. This outfit was the Sandame's gift for his previous birthday. As such, he treasured it, refusing to wear anything else. Not like he could, considering the village's refusal to sell him garments. If Naruto and Saruri were to sit together, outsiders would think that they were a couple, as their outfits were just very similar in many ways. However, once they looked again, they would notice that they were pulls apart in personality. While Naruto was friendly and cheery, Sori was permanently scowling, and when she didn't, she smirked, her attitude cold and uncaring. This would have not been the case 5 years ago, but the Uchiha clan massacre had changed her in many ways. She was kind before, but now all she did was glare. It was kind of sad really, and it was something that Na wanted to change. Flashback. Sori was out with her mother at the playground in Konoha's park. She had met a new friend at the park. It was a boy named Naro. Narokan, do you want to build a sand castle with me? The girl asked. Sure. The boy replied happily, for it was the first time he got to play with a friend. Usually, the parent would pull their child away upon finding out. However, Uchiha Makoto was a compassionate woman and was a friend of Kusha when she was alive. She was sad to see her friend's son all alone, and by a stroke of luck, they met him at the park. Her husband, Fugaku, would disapprove, but she still let her daughter befriend the Gingariki anyway, as he wasn't present. Na began helping Sori build the sand castle, making it a very elaborate sand construct. When a bit of sand flew away due to a passing wind, the boy pouted as he had to rebuild one of the turrets. The Uchiha girl giggled, finding his expression cute. Sori-chan, I'll go get you some drinks. Be back in 5 minutes. Don't misbehave, Makoto called, getting up from the bench. Sori nodded obediently, busy enjoying her time with her new blonde friend. Yada, it's finished. Na cried happily, doing a sort of victory dance. The young Uchiha girl burst out in peals of laughter at his antics. Naruto paused, for that laugh was the most melodious sound he had ever heard. He smiled, happy to see his friends so happy. That smile would not last long, for a group of 3 boys came into the playground. Seeing the sand castle, they ran towards the sand pit and kicked it hard, destroying the children's masterpiece. Sori teared up a bit before crying miserably. The leader of the 3 boys sneered in contempt. Crybaby, he taunted. Na stood in front of the Uchiha protectively, intent on shielding his new friend from any threat. Trademark. Take that back, he growled furiously. What did you say, Gaki? The leader mocked. I said, take it back. Na gritted out. By now, Sori was crying her heart out. Not just for her destroyed work, but for their lives, which were now under threat. Haha, I can crush with you a single fist. What makes you think you can make me take back my words? The leader spoke before swinging a fist at Na. It was a clumsy punch, one that Na evaded easily. Weaving under his arm, Na slammed his fist into the boy's stomach with all his might. The boy flew back into the arms of his 2 followers, who caught him. Wincing, he cried out in excruciating pain, sure something inside had broken. You're that child. The leader cried out in fear before scrambling away with his 2 friends. Once they were gone, he turned around to check on Sori. Sori-chan, it's okay. They're gone now. We can always build it again. Nay, Naruto said, hugging her and trying to console the girl. Nodding, she wiped away her tears and managed a smile. Uchihas are strong, and that means no crying, she told herself. But before they could rebuild the sand castle, Makoto was back with the drinks and had to bring Saruri home. Reluctantly, the 2 friends parted ways. To this day, the Uchiha had never forgotten what Naruto had done for her. And unbeknownst to him, she harbored feelings for him, but couldn't stop pushing him away to sever these bonds, in the hope that when the inevitable occurred, she wouldn't hurt Naruto with her leave. Present. Team 7 finished their lunch and left the stand after paying, then returned to their classroom where they waited for another half hour. Finally, Kakashi arrived. Yo, I'm your sensei. Kakashi-sensei, you're late. Sakura screamed. Luckily, the other 2 saw this coming and plugged their ears beforehand. Kakashi's sweat dropped. I got lost on the road of life. Meet me on the roof in 2 minutes tops. The Jonin then disappeared in the classic Shan Nojutsu Body Flicker Jutsu Academy rooftop. Na was the first to arrive, followed shortly by Sori and lastly Sakura. They all managed to arrive within the time frame, leading to their sensei praising. Looks like you guys are in decent physical condition. Now let's begin by introducing ourselves. Sakura asked, why don't you show us Kakashi-sensei? The white-haired man gave an eye smile. That was because the bottom of his face was obscured by a mask, and his headband was slanted to cover his left eye such that only his right eye was visible. Based on his eyebrow and right eye's expression, they could tell that he was smiling, though in what sense they did not know. My name is Hitaki Kakashi. I like some things, dislike others, and my hobbies and dreams are none of your business, Team 7's sensei introduced. We don't know anything except your name. Naruto deadpanned again. The mysterious man that was there. Sensei smiled. You go first, Pinky. Kakashi urged. Sakura grumbled and started. I'm Haruno Sakura. I like Saruri-chan. Dislike Naruto. Perverts and late people. Insert pointed look at Kakashi. My hobbies are playing trivia games and memorizing new material for my studies. My dream is to befriend Sori and grow up to be a powerful kunoichi. Blondie, you're next. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I like my precious people, ramen, and training. I dislike traders, people who take things for granted, and people who judge others for something not in their control. My hobbies are training, learning new jutsu, and bonding with precious people. My dream is to be the most powerful shinobi to grace the elemental nations and be Hokage. Admirable goal, Kakashi remarked before moving on. Raven, you're next. Suri scowled. I'm Uchiha. Suri. I like nothing and dislike everything, especially my brother. My hobbies are training and my dream is not a dream, but a life goal to kill Uchiha Itachi and restore the Uchiha clan. While Sakura and Kakashi sweat dropped, Naruto frowned sadly. Sori had a sad past and Naruto felt like he was obliged to help her move past it. Unknown to everyone, including himself, Naruto's fists were tightly clenched. He only released them when he realized how much he was stressing over the Uchiha. Well, interesting team we have here. Tomorrow, we're going to have a survival test which will determine whether you stay at Gen or get sent back to the academy. Report to training ground 7 by 7 a.m. and don't eat breakfast or you'll taste it twice, Kakashi announced before disappearing. Awkwardly, the three genin dispersed. Training ground 7700 a.m. Sakura and Sori arrived and did not eat breakfast as instructed. Naruto, on the other hand, was late. He arrived at 9 o'clock, much to Sakura's ire. Naruto, you're late. The boy shrugged. I'm not late when Kakashi-sensei is not here yet. Opening a bento, he began savoring breakfast. Kakashi-sensei told us not to eat breakfast. Sakura scolded once again. We're having survival training. We'll need energy for this. Trust me, replied Na between mouthfuls of rice. Sayuri and Sakura's stomachs began growling in hunger. The two kunoichi blushed and Sori looked away. Na still took notice and offered his bento to Saruri. Here, you can have it. Sori tried to resist, but her stomach was seemingly stronger than her mind in this case. Blushing, she accepted the offer. Thank you, she muttered. What was that? Na replied, not hearing what she said. I said, thank you, she yelled out in embarrassment, blushing even more heavily as she cursed herself. God damn it, why is Na so nice to me? I've tried to push him away from me with my attitude, but he just keeps coming back. Na, you are the sweetest boy I've met, but I'm afraid your kindness was wasted on me. I'm sorry I'll be gone in due time, Sori thought as she ate his bento with his chopsticks. She realized. Sakura, I'm sorry I didn't have extra. I'll go and get one for you. All right, Na said. Sakura sighed. Thank you, Na. The blonde disappeared in a burst of speed to the nearest shop. Transforming into someone else, he bought breakfast for Sakura and came back within 2 minutes. Wow, that was fast, Sakura commented. After finishing breakfast, they waited until 10 o'clock before Kakashi arrived. With Kakashi, the white-haired Jonin stood up from the memorial stone where he had been for the past 3 hours. I will honor your legacy, Obito. Who knows, this team might even pass. He disappeared in a leaf shunt to where Team 7 was waiting. Training Ground 7. Kakashi-sensei, you're late again, Sakura screeched. Said Sensei winced before replying. On the road, I saw a black cat and had to take the long way around it just to get here. Well, anyways, I have here with me 2 bells. You have 2 hours to get them from me. If you don't have a bell, you will be disqualified and sent back to the academy. Additionally, you will be tied to those posts and watch as the other 2 eat their lunches. So, that's why he didn't want us to eat breakfast. All 3 genin thought simultaneously. Questions? No. Hygiene. Kakashi yelled at once. The genin scattered into the forests. Na was analyzing Kakashi's instructions as was Saruri. Quickly both came to the same conclusion. The aim of this test is teamwork. Soon the two found each other. Suri, Na both started simultaneously before pausing. You start first. They followed up at the same time. Na sighed. We need to work together to beat Kakashi-sensei. Agreed, Suri replied. Ma, what's this? My cute little genin, Kakashi said suddenly beside them on the tree. Shocked, both leapt out of the tree while tossing a cane attached to an explosive tag. Kakashi jumped away to safety, avoiding the explosion which wrecked the tree they were previously on. The Jonin chuckled. It appeared that there was a spark between the two and it was up to him to ignite the flames of love. Oh Kami, why do I sound like guy now? Kakashi thought amused but then shivered at the thought of his eternal rival. Suri and Naruto tumbled onto the grass floor and quickly recovered. We have to find Sakura now. Suri said, I got this. Naruto assured and closed his eyes. He felt a small chakra presence. It was the chakra signature of Sakura. That way, let's go. Na led her to find their other teammate. Kakashi's eyes smiled. Interesting. So Naruto's a censor. He thought, my shadow clone got her already, so let's see what they'll come up with. They found her unclasped on the floor and Naruto turned her over checking her pulse. She's alive. No sign of any physical damage. So it must have been genjutsu. Naruto uttered, Kai, release, snapping her out. Suri took the chance and spoke up. Sakura, we need to work together as team to defeat Kakashi. She agreed with her idol and came up with a plan with Kakashi. What now? Kakashi thought as he saw Naruto approaching him at Genin level speed. Just as he neared, the blonde suddenly sped up to low Jonin speed, shocking the Jonin as he blitzed him with a punch. Kakashi clutched his stomach in pain as that blow had been strong, and coupled with the momentum of his speed, he was sure something inside had been damaged. He was never underestimating him again. Naruto swung his next fist. However, this time, Kakashi was on guard and knocked his arm away. Next, he executed a leg sweep which Naruto flipped over. The blonde then approached from behind and sent a punch to his back. He wasn't a Jonin for nothing, however, and spun around rapidly, snapping his leg out in a roundhouse kick. His foot sent Na crashing into the floor. That is until Na dispelled in a burst of smoke. Cage bunken, Kakashi thought in suppressed shock. How was he able to perform the shadow clone jutsu? The ground erupted, giving way to Naruto, who emerged from it with an outstretched arm. Kakashi managed to avoid it in time by flipping away. Great tactics, but still not enough to beat me, Naruto. Kakashi commented. Who said I was doing it alone? Na asked with a smirk. Kaden, Goku, no jutsu, fire style, fireball jutsu, Suri called from behind. Kakashi. A huge orb of flames rolled out of her mouth and flew towards the Jonin. Turning round and seeing the hurtling fireball, Kakashi jumped out of the way, exploiting the jutsu's weakness, linear path of movement. However, his eyes widened when he realized Naruto was still in the path of the fireball. The flames seemingly engulfed the blonde, incinerating the boy. Kakashi's eyes widened, and he quickly went to check on his student. Where Naruto once stood was a charred body. He bent down to check on the corpse. Without warning, he was punched in the head by Sakura. He glared at her. This is not a game, Sakura. Your teammate is dead. Could you at least show concern? Sakura laughed and somersaulted into the air before a burst of smoke revealed her to actually be Na. Nice to know you care, but did you think I was actually that easy to kill? The corpse dispersed in a plume of smoke as well, revealing itself to be a transformed shadow clone. So Naruto had outmaneuvered the fireball with pure speed and left behind a transformed shadow clone while transforming himself. Kakashi scowled. If he wasn't so pissed off, he would have been impressed. Though he did it to pass the test, Naruto may have crossed the line in playing dirty for this one. After losing a teammate, Kakashi wasn't keen on losing a genin under his charge. Naruto watched as Kakashi disappeared in a shunshin, reappearing behind the startled Suri. He drew a kunai and placed it to her neck. How would like it if your own teammate's life was in danger? Kakashi asked coldly, how would you like it if they die? With the last word, he pulled the kunai along Sururi's jugular. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. Suri-chan, the Uzumaki, screamed. Blood sprayed across the floor as his Uchiha teammate dropped to the floor, dead before she even hit it. Snap out of it, nah. It's a genjutsu, Kurama roared from within the mindscape before deciding to take it into his own hands by flaring his chakra to disrupt Naruto's chakra flow. The genjutsu was released, causing Naruto to see the reality before him. Kakashi was dashing towards him, and Suri was in front of him, protecting him from any possible attack. He couldn't tell that Sori was flushing badly as he had screamed out her name so passionately with the chan suffix, which in itself was something he had not done since childhood. She could tell though that Kakashi had cast some form of genjutsu, and by Naruto's reaction, it probably involved her. In a flash of yellow, however, Kakashi was knocked out of the way by, was that a shakuho ring staff. Interestingly enough, it was indeed a shakuho and wielded by Na, whose body was covered in what appeared to be a chakra cloak. Na growled, "I'm sorry for faking my death, Kakashi-sensei, but you really shouldn't have done that. Be it genjutsu or reality, no one touches my precious people and gets away with it." Suri fought the urge to blush again. Damn it, what was wrong with her? Just because Naruto considered her as one of his precious people number, she had a task to fulfill and she would not allow Naruto to be caught up. Kakashi had the wind knocked out of him by that weird weapon. It was an ancient and traditional monk's staff, a shakuho. But Naruto had used it in combat successfully, so it did have some merit. He watched in slight surprise as the shakuho split into two black orbs, which returned to Naruto's back, rejoining the other two which were orbiting. Let's put an end to this. Sakura Naruto called from a nearby tree. 4 kanai were thrown and landed in a square formation around Kakashi, who was attempting to recover and get away. Ishi Tojin string light formation. Naruto called. Lines of Fujutsu script wrapped around all 4 kana, creating a barrier which prevented Kakashi from escaping. Fubaku Hojin sealed bomb square release. Naruto activated further, causing Fu and Jutsu script to run in the corners the same as those on EXPL. Ossive tags. Kakashi-sensei, I wouldn't suggest moving unless you want your head and body to be in separate places, said John and sighed, giving up. He was bested by 3 genin, and who knew Na had so much in him. He was really pushing it with that genjutsu. Meanwhile, in Naruto's thoughts, he was wondering, did Suri really mean that much to him? After all, she kept on insulting and looking down on him. Perhaps even that had grown on him, or was it something else, something in the past? Kakashi gave up the bells, having no way to escape the trap without being blown up. Once Na released the technique, he stood up and dusted himself off. Dana and Na and Team 7, you pass, he said with an eye smile. The freshly graduated genin were in no mood to cheer and simply responded with an enthusiastic, yay. You know, you guys should be proud to be in Team 7. You're only the 5th Team 7 since Konoha's founding. You know, said Kakashi. Really? Now, who were the previous teams then? Sakura asked. Only the best ever made it to Team 7, for all its sensei had very high standards. The first Team 7 ever was led by Senju Tobarama the Nadim, who then had 3 genin under his charge. Serbi Heroes and the Sandame Kaharu and Mito Homura, both of whom are currently elders in the council. The second Team 7 was led by the Sandame and he had 3 genin under his charge. Then they are currently the legendary Sonin of Konoha. Jiraiya, the GMA Senant Toad Sage Sununid, the Namaku Jihime Slug Princess, and Orochimaru, who is now a new Kenin missing nin. The third Team 7 was led by Jera, and there was only one famous student in this case, Namikaze, Manado, the Yandami. The Yandami went on to lead Team 7, and under him were Noharu Rin, Uchiha Obito, and myself, Hitaki Kakashi of the Sharingan. Suri's eyes widened. How do you possess the Sharing? Kakashi sighed. It's a long and tragic story, but in the end, my teammate gifted me with his Sharing just before he died. So that's what's under his headband, thought Na. And so you're all now the 5th Team 7. And who knows, maybe one day you'll grow up to be powerful shinobi, Kakashi said. But as with all powerful shinobi, they start small. Tomorrow is your first mission. Report directly to the Ninmuatsuke mission assignment desk in the academy at 6. You mean 9? Naruto deadpanned. Kakashi sweat dropped in response. At 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, Yan, he means 9. Hoage's office. Kakashi arrived along with the 2 other John and Sensei, Asuma and Kurinai. So, what are the results of test? Hai asked while smoking a pipe. Asuma replied, Team 10 pass. Kurani spoke, Team 8 passed my test. Kakashi eyes smiled and declared Team 7 pass. The other 2 Jonin gasped in surprise, for Kakashi had never passed a team in all his years as a Jonin. Kakashi, could you explain why they passed? The Sandame inquired. Well, the moment it begun, Naruto and Sorori figured out the test's objective and Owned each other. After I ambushed them, they blew up the tree we were on with an explosive tag and ran away. Na with his sensory skills located Sakura, who I had already placed a genjutsu on with my shadow clone. They came together after releasing the illusion and presumably came up with a plan. Na approached me at, get this, low John and speed. We had a brief taijutsu scuffle before he burst into smoke, revealing himself to be a shadow clone. The original shot from the ground and attempted a punch, but I evaded it. Suddenly, Sori launched a fireball at me from behind, and I leapt out of the way, but Naruto was caught in it. Everyone in the room was glued to his next few words. He secretly outmaneuvered it with pure speed and replaced himself with a transformed shadow clone as a burned corpse. When I went to check on him, Sakura ambushed me and later revealed that she was a transformed Naruto. I cast a genjutsu on him, Kakashi said, and at this point left out the details of what illusion he actually cast, and dashed towards him. However, Sori came to his defense. Apparently, he snapped out of it in time and knocked me away with a shakuho. It caused so much pain that the real Sakura was able to throw for eyes around me in a square. With this, Naruto activated a barrier and layered it with an explosive trap. As such, I had to give up or risk getting blown up. Interesting, the elder Seruto Tobi thought. The other two Jonins in the room were shocked to the core. How did Naruto possess such speed and power as well as Fujutsu? That was an art completely out of a Genin's league. Then again, he was an Uzumaki whose clan was renowned for its Fujutsu prowess. Still, it did not explain the speed or power. Well, I expect that tomorrow you all will be assigning D ranks for your respective teams. The three sensei smirked. It would be fun to see their reaction with Na. When he returned home, Kurama spoke up from the mindscape. Since you're Ashrant's transmigrant, I'll try to be nice to you. Try, Na replied awkwardly. Ah. Thanks, I guess. I'll always be on standby, so if you get caught in a genjutsu like just now, I'll break it for you. Also, if you ever run out of chakra, I'll refill it with my own. Thirdly, I'll gift you with one of my sensory skills. The ability to detect negative emotions, Kurama explained with reluctance. He rarely felt nice enough to do this for his Ginyoriki. But this was a special case as Naruto was his brother's incarnate. Yes, the Rakudo Sennin had used Onaton to split up the original tailed beast, the Jub Ten-Tails, which was also known as the Shinjuku Divine Tree, into the current nine-tailed beasts of today. As such, they considered him to be a father. So being his son, Ashura was treated as a brother. Last thing, if one day we have enough mutual trust and you free me from the seal, I will allow you to use Bumoto Ta. Yield beast mode and summon me as an avatar. The Kayabi finished. Deal. Na agreed happily and with sheer willpower changed the entire waterlogged basement into a huge grassland where a mountain lay in the middle of lush forests. The cage was transformed into a huge cave within the mountain, and the bars morphed into a curtain of water cascading from the summit as a waterfall down to a huge lake where Naruto was currently standing on. Kurama grinned, though with his teeth, it may have looked malicious. He was already liking this kid. Mission assignment desk 9 a.m. The three genin arrived at the desk just as their sensei walked up to the door. Ah. Oh-ho, Kakashi called sheepishly. Naruto said, see, I told you he meant 9. The jonin cleared his throat to save himself from further embarrassment. Right, Team 7, here for a D rank. The tunin at the desk rifled through a cabinet and found a scroll labeled D rank. Opening it, he announced in monotone, Madam Shimi, the Fire DOS wife has lost her cat to yet again. Your mission is to find it and return it by 12 today. All three gens sweat dropped, having expected a mission of higher intensity befitting their skill set. Well, now there's no time to waste, Ikuzo. Kakashi ordered. The three genin set off to begin this crazy enterprise of D ranks. Previously, the three genin set off to begin this crazy enterprise of danks. Raven to squad, target spotted. Over. Whispered Suri over a radio. Blondie to squad, target in position. Get into position, I repeat. Get into position. Over. Naruto muttered as he noticed their target right where they wanted it to be. Roger that, Blondie. Pinky in position. Roger that, Blondie. Raven in position. Blondie to squad. All in position. Initiate attack in 3, 2, 1. Na counted down. At the last number, he leapt towards the demon cat and scared it off, causing it to run in the opposite direction, straight into the clutches of Sakura and Sori. While Sakura seized the cat, Sorori formed hand seals for a basic genjutsu. Megan Nakumi no Jutsu demonic illusion held viewing jutsu. Suri intoned. The cat was paralyzed, given a chance to capture it. They brought it back to the mission assignment desk where its owner was waiting. Kakashi congratulated. Your first mission was a success. Good job. And you didn't do anything but supervise. Kakashi-sensei. Soccer a dead pant. The Hokage interrupted. Here's mission payment, said Hisan. The first payout wasn't much. It only amounted to 500 Ryo, which was split up among the four of them. Kakashi got 200 while the rest got 100 Ryo each. Much to their dismay. Dana Nahan, you may go for lunch now. At half noon, report to training ground 7. I'll begin chakra control training, instructed Kakashi. 3:30 p.m. asked Naruto suspiciously. No, really. 12:30 p.m. Kakashi confirmed, much to Hirozen's amusement. Dismissed. Yakiniku Q. This time, Team 7 decided to have lunch at a barbecue joint owned by the Akamaiki clan. As such, Naruto wasn't chased away because the Akamaiki were friends of the Yandere, though that was unknown to him. Each table was fitted with charcoal braziers and equipped with tongs for cooking, since the Gukaku Bulshon form of dining was one in which the customers cooked their own food after ordering it. It was a delicious meal, but still didn't beat ramen in Naruto's opinion. Well, no other food ever did. As soon as they finished, the trio left for training ground 7 on time. To their huge surprise, Kakashi was already there reading an orange book to pass time. Noticing their arrival, he snapped the book shut. Ah, you're here. Let's begin our chakra control training. Kakashi-sensei, could you explain what chakra control is? Asked Na. Sakura nodded in agreement. Well, because chakra takes time and a great deal of training to gradually build up, the key to its use is not actually having chakra, but instead being able to sufficiently control and conserve it. This is called chakra control. In order to have good chakra control, a ninja should only mold as much chakra as they need to perform a given ability. If they mold more chakra than is needed, the excess chakra is wasted and they will tire out faster from its loss. If they don't mold enough chakra, a technique will not be performed effectively, if at all, likely creating problems in a combat situation. Okay, I get the idea now, but how exactly do we improve our chakra control? Asked Sakura. There are primarily two methods. The Kobari no tree climbing practice and the Suman Hoko no water surface walking practice. Kakashi explained the tree climbing exercise is a very important skill that will be applied to your everyday shinobi movement. Using just chakra, you will adhere your feet to the tree bark and walk up like it is a horizontal surface. The key to this is chakra control. If you use too little, you'll fall off easily, but too much and the chakra will repel you from the bark. Got it. Team 7 nodded. Use these kanas to mark your progress as you go along. Instructed Kakashi as he passed the weapons out. Go. Sakura walked up the nearest tree like it was nothing. Kakashi was gaping in slight surprise. However, it was expected as she had low chakra levels. Still, he wouldn't have expected her to get it on the first try. With chakra control this good, she could learn genjutsu or even learn Irian Enjutsu. She has a potential to be the team's medic, Kakashi thought. Meanwhile, her other two teammates were struggling as they kept on using too much chakra. Clearly, Suri is the team's Enjutsu specialist, seeing how she attacked with her fireball jutsu yesterday. Na is evidently the taijutsu specialist here, for he has high speed and strength. Though his taijutsu style still needs to be refined, but judging from his huge chakra reserves, he has potential to be stronger in Enjutsu than Suri. Sayuri was getting annoyed, but calmed her nerves and tried again. This time she made it 3/4 up the bark, whereas Naruto had only reached half the bark. However, her progress seemed to halt. Therefore, she was unable to go further and had to repeat the exercise for the rest of the day, as did Na. Meanwhile, Kakashi decided to teach Sakura some genjutsu and basic enjutsu. He was no medic, but he had copied techniques from them before and they came in handy when in a pinch. By the end of the day, Naruto and Suri were still unable to get up the tree. Kakashi encouraged, "Don't worry about it. It's perfectly normal to be unable to get up the tree in the first day. Just keep practicing." The next day, after their mission, Team 7 returned to chakra control training once again. True to her prodigious talent, Sori managed to get up this time and moved on to water walking along with Sakura. It was a whole new experience though, because apart from using the right amount of chakra, it also had to match the water's flow and alternate accordingly. Ripples in the water were enough to send them crashing into the river. This will take a while, Kakashi mused. Na was getting extremely frustrated for his own inability and was determined to get up the tree. He only did so successfully on the 4th day and finally moved on to the water walking exercise where his teammates were still stuck. A word of warning. Unless you want to get wet, you might want to take off your clothes, advised Kakashi. Na complied, not wishing to soil his precious jacket, but for the sake of the girls, kept on his pants. This caused a huge reaction among the girls, especially Suri, for Naruto was simply quite toned for their age. He had freaking abs for Cam's sake. The moment the blonde stepped into the water, though, he fell right through and got his whole body soaked. When he got out of the water, his hair was dripping wet and his face was one of annoyance. Sori was the only one thinking that he looked extremely hot at the moment. She scolded herself mentally for acting like a fangirl and carried on with the exercise, also getting wet. I put too little chakra just now. What if I put too much? Na wondered. He was answered when the water around him began churning and was pushed aside by his huge chakra presence, looking like the crossing of the Red Sea, except in a much smaller scale. The water splashed the other three, getting them drenched. Kakashi was slightly irritated for getting wet when he wasn't supposed to, but shook it off, no pun intended, and said, "That's what happens when there's too much chakra. Use the same amount you did for your tree climbing, but remember to alternate the amount based on the flow." This time it took another week before Team 7 perfected it, being able to walk or run on water. So what's next? Kakashi-sensei said John, and I smiled. Time for your first C rank tomorrow. Mission assignment desk 10 a.m. Team 7 here for a C rank. Kakashi requested. The Hokage asked, "Are you sure they're ready?" Kakashi. Their sensei nodded. The tunin on duty then fished for a scroll labeled Kank and read it out. Protect Zuna, the bridge builder of Wave, until he completes the bridge linking H Nokuni, land of fire, to Nami Nankuni, land of waves. Finally, a real mission, remarked Naruto happily. Send in to Zuna, ordered the Hokage to the Chunin outside, who opened the door for the mission client. The old man who entered was a drunkard, wearing a straw hat and a towel around his neck. Obviously, he was a laborer. I asked for top-notch protection, and I got this team of snot-nosed BRZ. Zuna commented rather rudely. Naruto's blood was boiling, but Kakashi intervened. We're more than enough to protect you against bandits, Zuna-san replied Kakashi. The man winced. Whatever, I expect you all to protect me at all costs. Since we're heading to Nami Nokuni, pack up and meet at the East Gate in 10 minutes, Kakashi ordered. East Gate 10:15 a.m. Let's go. The group left Kanahagakar for the land of waves. For the genin, it was the first time leaving the village, and it was captivating to see the huge expanse of forestry extending out from the village. When walking, they came across a puddle on the floor. This aroused Naruto's suspicion, as it was a clear day and it had not rained in a week. Sori looked to Na thinking the same, and nodded. Genjutsu. Besides, that pool was full of chakra and had 2 chakra signatures within. As Naruto sensed, guessing from the chakra levels, it was 2 tunins. As soon as they strolled past, 2 Kiri-Nuan burst out from the puddle with a shuriken chain linking the 2 by the gauntlets. The sharp chain wrapped around Kakashi, and they yanked on both ends, reducing him to sliced flesh. They turned to the remaining 4 and threatened. Give us the old man or we'll kill you like we did to your sensei. Sakura, stay with Tuzuna-san. Suri and I will deal with these 2. Naruto directed. Ikuzo. Suri. The 2 genin took off sprinting towards the tunin pair. Naruto sped up and launched himself at one of them. Sori threw a kana ahead of her, lodging the chain against a tree and trapping the 2. Upon realizing they couldn't break free, the 2 released the mechanism from the gauntlets and rolled away in time to avoid Na. The blonde's kick ended up hitting the tree instead, causing it to topple where Naruto's foot had struck. The 2 pulled. They were supposed to be genin. Na picked up the fallen tree and swung it at the tunin in front of him with ease. Timber, he yelled as he smashed him in the head. This got him dazed enough for Na to knock him unconscious with a palm thrust to the temple. The blonde around to face the other enemy who was fighting Suri ferociously. She seemed to have the upper hand with her quicker speed, but from the looks of it was already slashed once by the man's gauntlet claws. When she was knocked away by his gauntlet, Naruto took over and spun while jumping up. He snapped out his foot, executing a tornado kick perfectly. It slammed into the Chunan's face and sent him flying towards a tree. Suri, who had gotten up, ran to him and with great speed, throwing him skywards with a mule kick to his chin. Capitalizing on this, Naruto disappeared in a blur and reappeared above the man in midair. He grinned at the shocked Chunan before performing a brutal axe kick. The man was thrown to the ground at high speeds, crashing next to his brother and forming a huge crater. All the bones in his back were broken. Kakashi-sensei, you can come out now, Naruto said. The Jonin stepped out from the trees lining the path much to Sakura's surprise. But Kakashi-sensei, I thought you were substitution Sakura. Kakashi interrupted, pointing to the shredded logs on the floor where he was standing earlier. If that's the case, why did you leave it to the genin? Then Tuna asked. Well, Kakashi replied, now glaring at Zuna. I had to see who they were targeting. Us ninja attacking ninja. Are you the master bridge builder? In your mission request, you asked for standard protection against robbers and bandits. You didn't say there were ninjas after you. Zuna began sweating profusely. If you did, this would have been a B rank mission and we would have staffed differently as well as charged appropriately. Apparently, you have your reasons, but lying to us is unacceptable. We are now beyond the scope of the mission, Kakashi declared. I'm sorry, Zuna broke down. It's just our village is in poverty from God's tyranny and we have no way to pay for a B rank. Godto the shipping magnate questioned Kakashi. Zuna nodded. He monopolized our island's shipping trade. The only way for us to break the monopoly is for me to build a bridge linking our country to Nokuni, thus returning our trade and prosperity. The problem is God knows and sent ninjas on my tail. I got to Konoha as fast as possible, but I only had money to afford a C rank. Fine, Kakashi huffed. Our team should be able to handle this if that's all we face. You're lucky we have high-level genins in the team. We will continue this mission provided everyone agrees. Team 7 assented, leading Kakashi to order the resumption of the mission. But as soon as your country is rich again, we expect the proper mission payment, warned Kakashi. This was more than he could hope for. So the old man simply thanked him again and again. One more thing. Na suddenly spoke. Suri. The Uchiha blinked at not being addressed as Temp. What is it? Yuria Tonki. There's poison in your wounds originating from the new Kenin's claws. Let me treat you now. Na offered. Nori replied. I'll be fine. No you won't. Now let me see to that wound. Na replied with a fierce tone. Suri sighed and relented. To her great surprise, Na brought his mouth to her wounds and began sucking where the claws had cut her arm. What are you doing? She asked, embarrassed. Na did not reply, only stopping to spit out a purple fluid on the floor. It was the poison from her wound. I've sucked out the poison. Now I'll heal your wounds, Na answered before closing his eyes. Within seconds, chakra burst from his body and shrouded him in a haori. 4 black orbs floated behind him in a ring, of which he brought out one to Saruri's arm. Focusing, he increased the output of Yang chakra into her arm cells, causing them to regenerate much faster. The wounds closed up and healed in 10 seconds, leaving no scars behind. Strangely, it felt warm and relaxing when Naruto did that. Soon after, he released his chakra cloak. Shugoi Sakura cried in amazement upon noticing that Sori's wounds were now non-existent. Interesting ability. Kakashi contemplated in thought. Well, now that that's settled, let's get going, said Naruto, who started walking. Another 4 hours later, they finally reached the end of the path where a huge coast wrapped around the sea, cutting off any further access by land to Nami Nankuni. From here on, it was a sea journey. Before they could get on a boat, however, Naruto detected a Jonin-level chakra presence approaching them. Get down, Na warned as soon as he heard the sound of a revolving blade flying through the air. It flew overhead and lodged itself into a tree right next to the shore, revealing its owner, who stood on top of the huge blade. The Kubi Kiriboko, you must be Zabuza. Kuraja no, demon of the mist. And one of the Kiri no Shinobatana Shin and Shu. 7 swordsmen of the mist. Kakashi identified the famous sword and its owner. Zabuza smirked. Sharing no Kakashi. Kakashi of the sharing. I see why the Oni Kyodai demon brothers lost. Well then, I believe you won't hand the old man over easily. So I'll have to do this the hard way. With the last word, he jumped off his sword while grabbing its handle. With a hard tug, he dislodged it from the tree and charged towards Kakashi. Get ready, Kakashi warned. Immediately, Team 7 formed the Manji formation around their client, creating a tight triangle around the bridge builder to protect against outside threats. Zabaz's eyes narrowed and he brought the seal of confrontation to his chest when 5 meters away from Kakashi. No Kuraja no Jutsu ninja art hidden miss Jutsu. A thick fog lifted from the nearby water body obscuring their view. Alarmed, Kakashi straightened his headband as soon as possible and brought his sharing to see the light. Zabaz's killing intent flooded the area, causing everyone apart from Kakashi and Naruto to cower in fear. Being a Jonin, Zabaz's ki was fearsome indeed and Kakashi was only standing because of his equal status. Naruto on the other hand had no trouble because of Kurama. The new Keenan stalked to the area where Kakashi was and came up from behind him. The Konohan sensing this turned back and slashed him in the midsection only for him to burst into water. Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu water clone Jutsu. The real Zabuza emerged from behind and bisected Kakashi with his sword. However, Kakashi also burst into water. He copied my jutsu, Zabuza thought angrily. Kakashi's sharing was spinning and glowing crimson red under the low visibility conditions. A creepy sight to behold. The new Kennen raised his sword to block a stab from Kakashi's kani. The tip of the kani was snapped off much to Kakashi's chagrin. Zabuza grinned demonically before initiating a sacrifice throw which launched the Sharingan wielder into the sea. As soon as he surfaced, a water clone shouted, Sweden Swiro no Jutsu water style water prison jutsu. This created an orb of chakra-infused water which entrapped Kakashi Shimada. He cursed and then yelled, Nah, take the team and Tazuna-san and get away. The blonde shook his head in refusal. I'm getting you out of there, sensei. Zabuza smirked. You should have listened to your sensei, Gaki. Now I'll have you to kill you all. Na assumed a stance before rushing into battle. Tisk. Suri clicked her tongue in irritation. Sakura guard Tazuna. I'll fight along Na. Na had superior speed and was evading every swipe of Zabaz's Kubia Boko. Zabuza had great strength but was sluggish in movement, especially after a huge swing. Capitalizing on this, he delivered a chop to his wrist which caused the sword to fly into the air. Na attempted to kick Zabaz's stomach. However, the new Keenan stepped back and dodged. Sori, who had just arrived, noticed what was going to happen and pulled. The sword was spinning back down into its owner's hands, and Na had yet to recover from his kick, for he had overcompensated and was now left vulnerable. She made a mad dash for it. Grinning menacingly, Zabuza caught the sword and swung it down at Naruto, who had no time to evade, for his stance was S2 open. Naruto, she screamed in thought, her vision beginning to blur. Though she acted like she hated him to try to negate any possible hurt he would feel when the inevitable occurred, she still felt love in her heart, and the thought of losing him was unbearable. All of a sudden, her vision cleared and in fact became sharper. Weirdly though, the world around her was now in inverse negative. The sky was orange and the floor was red. Even more strangely was the fact that everything around her seemed to be moving in slow motion, including the Kubikyo, which was going down very slowly. Seeing as she still had time, she doubled her efforts to sprint towards Zabuza. Suri made it just in time, and her bare hands caught the edge of the blade as it swung down, bracing against it. The razor edge cut deep into her hands, but managed to stop the sword from moving any further. The Uchiha girl winced as pain shot through her nerves, but resisted the urge to cry out in agony. Naruto gasped as he noticed his teammates' vermilion eyes swirling with 2 Thomas each, but quickly took the opportunity and got away from the sword's path. Thanks, Suri, he said softly. The next moment, yellow chakra enveloped him as he entered 6 Paths Sage mode. Get thee away from her, bastard, Naruto yelled, making a huge swing with a shakuho he fashioned out of one of his truth-seeking orbs. It arced in a perfect curve and struck the blade at the portion above Suri's hands. A clean line shot across from the part where Naruto had slammed it to the other end of the blade. To all three's shock, the Kubikyo actually snapped. The heavy edge of the blade that had broken fell and hit the floor. Zabuza didn't complain, however, and freed the portion of the sword which he was holding from Sori's bleeding hands, which Naruto healed with his Gudo Dharma. The blood dripping from the blade was seemingly absorbed, and the blade was restored to its original form. Nar analyzed calmly. Zabuza, your blade, it harvested the iron in Saruro's blood, huh? The Jonin was surprised. Only users of the blade ever knew such a trait existed. You're smart, boy. Well, I'll just have to make sure you never draw blood from me. Naruto shouted as he charged at Zabuza together with Suri. The new cannon flashed through hand seals. Sweden Dakufu no Jutsu water-style giant vortex jutsu. Water erupted from the shore and shot swiftly towards the pair as a huge vortex. Na whipped the shakuho out in front of him and twirled it rapidly, negating the A-rank Sweden water-style jutsu. What the hell is that? Zabuza cried as he witnessed his jutsu fall apart into pools of water. Suri sprinted towards Zabuza alongside Na. They disappeared in two blurs, blitzing the new cannon. As the Uchiha with her newly awakened Shagan clashed with the swordsmen. Na continued running towards the water clone. The Mizu Bunchan was vulnerable because in order to maintain the water prison, it had to keep its hand on the orb of water. Naruto launched a rod made out of the Gudama at the water prison. However, the water clone used its other hand to fend off the rod with a cane. The blonde smirked as the rod pierced through the kanai and shattered it while embedding itself into the Mizu Bunchan's arm. The water clone being created from a jutsu was nullified and disintegrated, thus also rendering the water prison useless. Once the water walls fell away, Kakashi took a deep breath of air and panted hard. He had been holding his breath for the past 5 minutes since he was trapped and almost drowned. Kakashi-sensei, get ready, Naruto uttered. Kakashi nodded and the blonde performed a Kawari Mei with Zabuza. The new cannon tumbled into the water where Kakashi started attacking him relentlessly. Once they surfaced, Zabuza quickly went through a sequence of 44 hand seals which Kakashi copied perfectly, having his sharing activated. Sweden Swearin no Jutsu water style water dragon jutsu both in tone simultaneously water gushed up from the lake in the form of two dragons which fought each other for supremacy. Aiming carefully, Naruto telekinetically sent a kanai made out of the Gudo Dharma to Zaba's dragon. Instantly it kissed as Harmel's water into the lake. Since it was N-jutsu created with the aid of the environment, the chakra within the jutsu was negated but not the original substance, which in this case was water. If it had been a fireball, it would have completely been erased as it was made entirely out of chakra. Kakashi's dragon sped on ahead and crashed into Zabuza, slamming him against a tree. Weakly, he uttered, "Those eyes, do they see the future?" Kakashi replied tersely, "They do, and your future is death." Suddenly, two Senbons flew from the tree and pierced Zabuza's neck, killing him. A Kiryu Nin Hunter ninja dropped in and went to Zabuza's body. Kakashi checked his pulse and sighed in relief. The new Kinin was dead. The Onin spoke. "Thank you, Konohan. I've been tracking him for a long time. You have allowed me to kill him." The Jonin stepped back, allowing the Kinin to grab Zabuza's corpse. In a shunshin, he disappeared with the body. Well, now that that's dealt with, Kakashi started before walking a few steps and collapsing to the floor. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura cried and walked towards her unconscious teacher. He had overused his sharing, Suri stated as she deactivated her own. Naruto picked him up in a fireman's carry and allowed Zuna to show them to the way to his home. The five arrived at Zuna's house. Knocking on the door, a young lady dressed in a short-sleeved pink shirt with long dark blue hair opened it. "Konnichiwa. Where to Zuna-san detail, Konohano Danahan," Naruto introduced. "This is Uchiha Sayuri, and this is Haruno Sakura. The person who I'm carrying is my sensei, Hitaki Kakashi. I'm Azuaki na Kinakiwa. I'm Tsunami, the daughter of your client," she greeted. Chuzuna commented, "I wouldn't have made it without them. We were ambushed by 3 ninja. Thank you. Please make yourself at home," Tsunami said as she ushered the team into the house. There was a kid wearing a yellow shirt, green overalls, and a white hat with blue stripes in the house. "That is Inari, my son," Tsunami introduced. Then she led the team to 2 bedrooms. "These are the guest rooms. There are 2 futons per room. Ano saw Sorori Sakura. Who would you like to bunk with?" asked Naruto. Sakura cried immediately. Suri-chan Sorori gave a defeated sigh and agreed. Besides, it was in her agenda to get further away from Naruto, not closer. Bunking with Na would be a mistake. "All right then, let's split up and meet in 2 hours," Na suggested before entering one of the rooms. He set Kakashi down on the futon and tried to activate his 6 paths sage mode to revitalize Kakashi. However, he felt extremely fatigued and was unable to do so. Ashura explained, Narokan, you can only use it 30 minutes in one day at your current level as your body is unable to handle any more th.
Get lost.
And that, the time limit can be extended, but for now, just rest. When you wake, train up your taijutsu. Your overcompensation almost ended your life if not for Suri. Now rest. Na felt drowsy and calloused onto the awaiting futon. 2 hours later, the blonde groaned and blinked as he sat up, his eyes adjusting to the brightly lit room. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon and Naruto felt like training. When he got downstairs, Sorori and Sakura were already seated at the table having high tea. He sat down and picked up a biscuit from a plate. After chewing, he asked, shall we have training? Sakura nodded, excited to improve her taijutsu. Sori silently channeled chakra to her eyes, which turned from onyx to a beautiful vermilion hue. To line a ring surrounding each of her black pupils. I awakened my sharing. When Kakashi wakes, I'll have him train me in its usage, Sayori spoke. Naruto replied, all right then. For now, I'll be working on mostly taijutsu. Do you wish to join me, Sakura? The pink-haired girl nodded eagerly. Suri, can you teach me enjutsu? Na asked sheepishly after humbling himself down. PFF. Suri snorted. All right, then. If you're going to be of any use, you might as well learn something. Just find me once you're done with your taijutsu. With that, the Uchiha walked out of the door. Na raised an eyebrow, but was delighted. Come on, Sakura. Let's go practice our taijutsu. While the Haruno practiced her stances, Naruto went through taijutsu katas, placing emphasis on perfecting the 4 moves and fluidity of the transition between each one. All the way, Ashura gave him pointers such as to vary the strength of his blows and the speed of his transitions to confuse the enemy. After all, unpredictability was his forte. Many feints were incorporated into the sequences, and other unnecessary maneuvers were scrapped completely from the kata. Within 3 hours, his taijutsu standard was improved to roughly that of a tunin. It would take much more to catch a jonin like Kakashi OFFG guard, though. In such cases, his rank served to deceive the enemy into believing that he was of such a standard expected of those with the genin rank. At 7, he approached Saruri for an enjutsu crash course. Dobby, were you going to make me wait forever? Spoke Suri as she stopped in the middle of her training. Sorry about that. Can we begin now? Na apologized. All right. Basically, enjutsu manipulates chakra to do things that you normally wouldn't be able to do, like breathe fire or level the ground. To do an elemental jutsu, there are mainly 2 parts, nature transformation and shape transformation. After you mold chakra, nature transformation is applied first. This characterizes the jutsu's element. Next, you apply shape transformation, which modifies the chakra for the purpose of the jutsu. For example, my fireball jutsu is my chakra converted to fire and shaped into a ball. Understood. Na nodded. So, how do I apply nature transformation? Suri replied. It comes naturally to one based on the person's elemental affinity. To test for your affinity, you first need to channel your chakra to a piece of chakra paper. I don't have that at the moment, so you have to get it from Kakashi-sensei. Well, go ahead. I'll wait. Na returned to the house and found his sensei still asleep. Na woke him up temporarily to ask permission to borrow chakra paper. Without questioning, Kakashi gave 2 sheets to him and went back to sleep. When he returned, Suri exclaimed, perfect. Give me one. I'll demonstrate. She held one sheet between her index finger and thumb before sending chakra to it.
Let's see if this
It wrinkled
works.
and then burst into a small flame, reducing it to ashes. My elements are fire and lightning. If yours is fire, Kaiden or lightning raid lightning style, it will burn or wrinkle respectively. If it is water or Sweden, it'll become damp. Earth or Dodden earth style and it'll crumble with wind futon. The paper will tear. Now try it out. Release your chakra. Na followed her instructions. A huge gale broke out around him and the trees around him had their barks cracked. Branches snapped and leaves flew everywhere in a storm of chaos. Suri was pushed back and she glared at him, causing him to stop. The Uchiha grumbled, perhaps I wasn't clear enough in my instructions. Kindly channel your chakra, not release it. I apologize for my poor word choice. Please exercise some chakra control. Suri snapped sarcastically. Naruto's sweat dropped to any other shinobi. Releasing and channeling chakra would mean the same. However, his chakra was so dense, so potent, and voluminous that chakra control was the key difference between the two. This time, chakra emitted from his fingers and entered the special piece of paper. With a loud, sickening rip, two perpendicular lines formed across the paper, quartering it. And that wasn't it. The first piece burst into a huge flame which engulfed it, reducing it into tiny black ashes. The second turned soggy that the entire piece dissolved. The third crumbled into fine dust so small that it appeared that it had disintegrated, and the last wrinkled rapidly, crushing itself into a paper ball. Suri was agape. Firstly, what the hell? Sheepishly, he rubbed the back of his head. I don't believe my eyes, but things happen, I guess. She spoke again, this time much calmer as she regained her bearings and Uchiha demeanor. Well then, I suppose I could teach you some fire jutsus. Let's start with the Kaiden. Goku no Jutsu, began Sori briefly. She ran through the Jutsu theory and hand seals. Within 30 minutes, he could throw a decent fireball. To be honest, she was a little jealous that he got it down quicker than she did when she first started. Sure, there was a lot of room for improvement, but to be able to even launch a decent-sized fireball was amazing in her eyes. Next, they moved on to the Kaiden Hossen no Jutsu fire-style Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Since it was essentially splitting the fireball into smaller fireballs, Naruto got the shape transformation much faster this time and learned the jutsu within 15 minutes. He never bragged, though, choosing to instead improve his current arsenal of 2 jutsu. He pushed his limits to increase their range and intensity, but only succeeded by a small margin. At 8, Kakashi woke and came by to supervise training. At this point, Sakura joined them. Upon hearing of Sori's 2 tomo sharing and Naruto's 5-element wonder, Kakashi explained that he only knew of 2 people who had both occurrences. Uchiha Oido, my former teammate, awakened the Sharingan with 2 tomas already present. He was trying to protect me after I got my left eye slashed later. He died saving me from a cave collapse and had me take his left sharing, recounted Kakashi. Could it be because both were awakened during the need to save someone? Asked Na, the white-haired Jonin shrugged. It's possible. After all, most awaken their sharing when they are under incredible mental stress, usually due to the death of a loved one. This is why they call it the curse of hatred. Because the more losses an Uchiha faces, the larger his hatred, and thus the more powerful his eyes become. In Shura's case, there's too little evidence from the past, though it's still a possibility. I guess that'll have to wait till she has children, huh? Seda blushed before suppressing her embarrassment. What about Na and his 5 elements? Sakura asked. Well, I've only heard of one man who had all 5 elemental affinities. He is the Shinobi Nomi, god of Shinobi, the Shodai Hokage, Hashiyama Senju, Kakashi explained. Whoa, Suri gasped in amazement. Naruto wasn't so surprised as he was the Shodai in his past life. On the other hand, he was glad that Saruri was showing more emotion than she did on a regular basis. Hopefully, that meant she was warming up to the team. Kakashi continued. My elemental affinity is lightning. However, with my sharing, I have copied over 1,000 jutsu from all 5 elements. This earned me the title of Copy Ninja no Kakashi. Copy Ninja Kakashi. However, the problem with performing jutsus that are not aligned with your affinity is that they take more chakra and chakra control to execute properly. So, just a warning before you guys may get any ideas, except Na of course. So, I'll use 2 shadow clones to teach Naruto and Sakura en jutsu while I myself, the original, will instruct Sori in the sharing as well as en jutsu. Alright, the 3 genins nodded and Kakashi formed shadow clones. While the original focused on teaching Suri sharing tactics, it was impossible to teach everything he knew about the eyes as she only had 2 tomas. Thus, he moved on to Enjutsu and taught her his one and only original technique, the Chidori Thousand Birds. As for Na, he gave him 2 Enjutsu from each element to learn over the week. With shadow clones, they sped up the process as Kakashi revealed to Na as he had recalled from the scroll of sealing. The shadow clone jutsu created corporeal clones which once dispelled returned its chakra and memories to the user. Because of this, using shadow clones to train accelerated the process. What he could complete in an hour could be done in half an hour with a single shadow clone. Since he could spam hundreds as they found out later.
So pathetic.
Well, you know what happened. The only drawback was things that required muscle memory like taijutsu needed to be done manually, as shadow clones could not help in that. Lastly, with Sakura, she discovered her elements, earth and water, and was taught one jutsu each from each element. Kakashi figured that she had only so much chakra to spare, so it would be better if she focused more on being a support type. By dinner at 9 o'clock, despite still having their work cut out for them, all three had accomplished a milestone. They discussed training over dinner, and that's when Kakashi decided to drop the bombshell. I suspect Zabuza may still be alive, the Jonin declared suddenly. The Genins froze in shock. But how? Why? Naruto asked, setting down his spoon. The standard procedure for a hunter nin is to burn a new Kenin's corpse upon killing him. This is to prevent the village's secrets from being leaked. However, as I recall, the Onin just took Zabuza away, Kakashi explained. But are you 100% sure? Facing Zabuza again is a terrifying thought, Sakura asked worriedly. Kakashi reasoned. That's not the only detail. From what I remember, sons are not enough to kill, but can induce a death-like state when thrown at the correct spot. In my fatigue, I must have overlooked the detail and thought he was really dead. Unfortunately, that means we have at most a week to train before facing Zabuza again. And this time, probably with his accomplice as well. Given his accuracy with the S-spins, this accomplice is no pushover either. So, you guys must train as much as possible. Hopefully, we'll be able to increase the odds of victory by learning the jutsu which I have just imparted to you. Alright, so we'll train extra hard this week. Naruto cried, excited to get his N-jutsu up to par with his taijutsu. Their conversation was interrupted by the cold voice of Inari Tsunami's son. What's the point of all this training when you are all going to die at the hands of God's men? Anyways, why are you still so cheery? What do you know anything about suffering? Suddenly, the room's temperature dropped a few degrees, making its occupants shiver as killing intent flooded the house, courtesy of Naruto. Kid, you don't understand how hard of a life we shinobi lead. You think you have it tough. You're wrong. Every day, we must train ourselves to get even the slightest edge against our opponents so that we can live to see the day and go back to our loved ones. We face death every single day. Even the slightest mistake can lead up to our death. So we treasure what we have and fight for our precious people. You have your mother and grandfather who love and spoil you. People like me don't even have families. I get glared at in my own village, kicked out of stores, overcharged for simple things. All you need to know is without any precious people, you cease to have a reason to exist. If you don't stand up for yourself, no one else can do it for you, kid. Naruto replied, surprising Sakura with the amount of maturity he had in his tone and reply. In fact, she was shocked that such things even happened to Na. Was it true she decided that she would ask Kakashi-sensei in private so she would not offend Naruto if he had really gone through such things? Suri, on the other hand, felt an inexplicable sense of sadness for Naruto's past. She didn't question the integrity of his words and chose instead to keep silent. Kakashi was also deeply saddened by Naruto's words, knowing they were true. He was well aware of his student's tenant, but was disgusted by the village's actions. They took their hatred for the fox out on a defenseless boy who knew nothing of why they did so. Inari was taken aback by Naruto's harsh response, having expected a response about how they were going to find a way to defeat Gado and alleviate the village's suffering. Instead, Naruto's reply was more of a you deal with it, except with instructions how. The kid burst into tears and ran to his bedroom, Naruto's philosophical response still ringing in his head. The blonde took his plate to the sink where Tsunami was and then opened the door. I'm going to train. The door closed as Naruto stormed off. Kakashi sighed. It can't be helped, he thought. With Na, he began practicing all the jutsu he had learned and spammed shadow clones to help. By 11, he caused from exhaustion. With Saruri, the other two had turned in for the night, but Naruto was not back yet. This had Sori slightly worried as it was quite late already. Had the enemies gotten hold of him? Stealthily, she snuck out of the guest room and out of the house, venturing into the nearby forests. About 300 meters away was a huge clearing created by a large array of jutsu. If Na had clashed with the enemy, The fight must have been pretty big to leave such a huge trail of destruction. To her relief, she found Na lying on the floor, still alive if his light snoring was anything to go by. She sighed and smiled, stifling a laugh. Only he would be capable of doing all this and still sleeping so peacefully like nothing happened. As gently as possible, she picked him up. Leaving him here was not only dangerous, but he could also catch a cold out in the forest at night. Slowly, she walked back to the house, careful not to wake the sleeping boy in her arms. Her face flushed when Naruto's sleeping self snuggled deeper into her embrace, pressing against her chest. A ghost of a smile graced her lips. She then re-entered the house shinobi style through the window. Silently, she landed on the tatami floor of Naruto and Kakashi's room. Their sensei was fast asleep, still recuperating from his overuse of the Sharingan. His awakening earlier to check on them and have dinner left him even more weary when he finally retired to the futon as his rest was incomplete. Well, at least could do what she was currently doing. Carefully, she lowered him down onto the futon. The Uchiha located the blanket and pulled it over the sleeping blonde. Under the moonlight, his facial features were relaxed, and his expression was one of peace and bliss. It generated an aura of calmness which spread to Sori as she tucked her favorite blonde into bed. She found it hard to resist and gave in to her temptations. Softly, she kissed Naruto on the cheek and whispered, "Sweet dreams, Naruto-kun." Now that her mind was at peace, she returned to her room and went to sleep. Unknown to her, while Na was most definitely asleep, his lips curled into a smile rarely seen anymore, a smile of true happiness. The next morning, Naruto's eyes snapped open, and he groaned as he registered the sunlight piercing through the window. It cast a warm glow throughout the room, illuminating it with the brilliance of the morning. "Rise and shine, Kit!" Kurama yelled from the Mincy ape, howling with laughter when the boy winced as the loud announcement rang in his head. Clearly, he wasn't a morning person. Ashura took over and declared, "Today, we will do something special. Naruto-kun, go to the local blacksmith and commission the finest sword he can make. When you get it, I'll teach you Kenjutsu sword techniques. It'll be worth it as you get to extend your range of attack." "All right then," Naruto replied telepathically as he stood up and got downstairs for breakfast. "Tsunami-san, is there a blacksmith in this town?" The woman was surprised by the sudden question but nodded. "He's a very famous blacksmith in town. Charges highly for his weapons but makes the best swords in Nami Nunkuni." Tsunami replied as she jotted down the address. Here Na took the piece of paper and slipped it into his pocket. "Thanks, Tsunami-san. Na, are you buying a sword?" Kakashi queried. "Yep." Suri spoke up. "Can you help get me a chakudo? I'll give you the details on a piece of paper later." "Okay. Then I'm leaving after breakfast," Naruto replied, setting down his teacup. Once Sori gave him the paper, he left for the address which Tsunami gave. Sori and Sakura split up for their individual training first. Kakashi would later gather them for a team exercise when Naruto returned. For now, he guarded Zuna at the bridge as the bridge builder directed his workers for the massive construction taking place with Saruri in the spot where she found Na yesterday. A young girl in pink dress wearing a black choker was plucking plants and depositing them in her basket, seemingly gathering herbs. "Oh ho," the girl said as she looked up from her herb picking. "Oh ho," Sori gave the customary reply. "What are you doing out in the forest so early in the morning?" the Uchiha asked, stopping to catch her name. "Haku," the girl replied. "I was picking herbs to heal a friend of mine. What about you?" "I'm Uchiha Sarui, a kunoichi, and I was going to begin training."
Note to Max.
"Oh," the girl her head in curiosity. "That's interesting. What do you train for?" the Uchiha replied. "I train to get stronger so that I can kill my brother to revenge my clan." The girl shook her head in disappointment. "That's just sad," the Uchiha growled. "And who are you to say that? Are you fighting for your own sake or to protect others?" Haku asked. Sori's gaze softened. "I don't really know. I guess I fight to revenge my clansmen, but at the same time, I also protect the people I love from being harmed by what I do." The girl nodded sympathetically. "That's something I understand. It's a different kind of love, and it must kill you inside to be hated by the one you love, because to protect them, you must be the villain. Well, you're still fighting to protect someone precious to you, and that's something I respect even greater because you sacrifice more than anybody to protect everybody. I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors until we meet again." Goodbye for now. As Sori watched Haku leave the forest clearing, she pondered on her words. She wasn't very successful in shielding Naruto from hurt that he would eventually feel, given that she had done so much for him while he was aware. If she truly wished to care for him while remaining the villain, she should do so covertly. Suddenly, she thought of Itachi. Could it be? No. If he had really wanted to protect her, he wouldn't have committed such a heinous crime as slaying the entire clan except her. He would pay dearly for his crimes, and Sori would be the one to mete out justice for her fallen clan. Back to the topic. She was torn between covertly protecting Naruto by being the bad guy, but being unable to protect him openly against threats like Zabuza as she did yesterday, or doing the same thing. While allowing herself times to protect him openly, but risking him finding out and loving her back. She decided that she would do the latter, but pass it off as being a teammate's duty. It was safer this way. She could still be the bad guy while allowing her to protect him when needed and giving her an excuse to do so.
Of course I do.
Sigh. Her love life was so complicated. With that thought in mind, she commenced her training to learn and master the Chidori as well as the Sharingan. With Na, when he arrived at the given address, he saw a small wooden building with a single floor. Inside, there was a bright glow emanating from the forge. He knocked and entered when told to buy the man inside. Welcome to my smith shop. The burly man within said, so, what do you need? Na replied, 2 custom-made swords, please. I have a particular one in mind for a friend, and the other is for myself. He walked up to the stone counter and put down Sori's note. This is my friend's specifications for her sword. As for mine, I don't care what you make as long as it's the finest you have to offer. I'll pay you handsomely for it. Don't fret. I see, the man responded, taking the piece of paper and scanning through it. Your friend's one is easy to make. However, yours will take quite a while as it'll be my greatest masterpiece yet. Do you mind if it is a Yodo Western sword? Na shook his head. As I said, I don't mind whatever you have planned. The blacksmith nodded and handed him a rod. Hold this for me. Take a few swings, the blacksmith requested. Na did so, and the man observed carefully, taking down notes. He's quite strong as that rod is relatively heavy. I figure I'll forge something heavy, a dense material, perhaps. Next, he took measurements of Naruto's hand, forearm, and legs to determine the weapon's perfect thickness and length. All right, I'm done. Thanks for your business. I'm Shino Aba, Master Blacksmith of Nami, and it's been a pleasure working with you. You can pick up the swords in a week. Pleasure working with you, too. Yan, said Na before leaving the forge. A week later, Team 7 alternated between guarding Zuna and training, and today it was Sori's turn. She scowled as the bridge suddenly became much colder. The fog had thickened and visibility was reduced slightly. For all she knew, Zabuza and the accomplice was back. Kakashi-sensei Sakura, we have an alert. I think the enemy is back. The Uchiha spoke into her radio. Roger that. Heading over. Where's Na? Kakashi asked. Sakura replied, I think that idiot overslept, probably still in the house. Good. Kakashi replied. Gado might have sent some of his men to attack the house, so Naruto can guard it for now. Whatever, just be here quick. I don't like the looks of this, urged Suri. At that moment, 2 blurs appeared by her side. It was Kakashi and Sakura who were training in the forests nearby the bridge in case such a thing should happen. On the other end of the uncompleted bridge, 2 dark shadows stood menacingly. One had a huge sword hefted on his shoulder. Zabuza Kakashi called into the mist. Kakashi, this time I'll finish you off, the Kirinuan replied. Take the black-haired girl. The pink-haired one is useless, so she'll probably be guarding the bridge builder. I'll handle them and Kakashi. Zabuza whispered to his apprentice. The apprentice nodded. As you wish, Zabuza-sama. Kakashi rattled off instructions. Sori, take the accomplice. Sakura, guard Tuna. I'll deal with Zabuza. Hi, both. Gen's chorus and moved to their respective positions. The mist thickened considerably before the sound of rapid footfalls echoed across the bridge. Here they come, Kakashi warned before heading off into the fog to face Zabuza. Eerily, the footsteps disappeared. Suri turned just in time to block a strike from the accomplices. You're mine, the fake hunter Nin said, voice devoid of emotion. Sayori launched a kick to his stomach. However, the accomplice back flipped away. As he did, Sori took the chance to flash through hand seals.
Juliet, read this.
Kaiden Gokyu no Jutsu. A large fireball burst out of her mouth and flew towards the accomplice who merely shot his hands out before him. Hyoten Hyogen Deuce style ice rock dome. Sori's eyes widened when a solid dome of ice materialized around the fake hunter Nin, shielding him from the blazing sphere of flames. When it dispersed, the ice was intact without even so much as a singe. Hyoden ice style is that Akeki Genkai wondered. Her attention returned to the accomplice who had opened a hole in the dome and was charging towards her. The two engaged in taijutsu, and it was clear that the fake Nin was faster. He grabbed the Uchiha's arm and formed one-handed hand seals with the other hand. Haijutsu, Sensatsu Susho, Secret Jutsu, 1,000 flying water needles of death, the accomplice uttered. Water in the air materialized into numerous thin icicles that closed in on Sui. The Uchiha yanked her hand free and used her kunai to deflect all the incoming projectiles. After she was done, a powerful kick pushed against her chest, sending her crashing away. The fake hunter Nin closed in on her and stomped on the ground where she was. Luckily, the Uchiha rolled away in time and recovered, swiping her kunai swiftly at the accomplice. He burst into shards of ice, reappearing behind her. Beware, Haijutsu, Makio Hyosho Secret Jutsu Demonic Ice Mirrors, he called. Multiple mirrors made of ice surrounded her in a house-like formation, preventing her escape. In each mirror, there was an image of the fake hunter. Nin, Suri growled. It was infuriating that he was so fast. She didn't want to pull her trump card this early, but if her fireball earlier was anything to go by, normal fire techniques wouldn't work on his ice. Sharing, she uttered while channeling chakra to her optic nerves. Her ink-black eyes flared with chakra, which turned them into a bright vermilion hue. Around her black pupils was a ring with two spinning magatamas. Suddenly, a wave of sunbed down on her. Now being able to roughly track the sunbans, she managed to fend off most of the sunbans. Some still made it past her guard, though, and pierced her body. But she could finally see. It was not that there was one accomplice in each mirror. Rather, the fake hunter Nin was moving so fast that he appeared to be in every mirror. However, there was a restriction to her eyes. While she could now keep track of the enemy and see the sunbans flying towards her, if her body was not fast enough, she still wouldn't be able to block them. Experiencing her own painful death helplessly in slow motion was definitely not on her to-do list for today, nor any day for that matter. So instead, she tried to shift positions to throw off his accuracy. Still, they were literally everywhere, and it was quite hard to evade them all, given that she was trapped in this sadistic house of mirrors. Blocking them with her kani was her only choice. In the times where one slipped past her guard, it pierced through her delicate skin easily and stung like hell. Worse, they felt very cold and numbed the struck area slightly. Her eyes widened when she saw Zabaz's accomplice shooting out from the mirror. Usually he traveled along the mirrors, but this time he flew through the air right at her with Naruto. Earlier the Uzumaki woke up and realized that Kakashi was gone from the room. When he checked, so was Suri and Sakura. Damn it, he overslept again. He went downstairs to find them, but paused mid-step when he heard a commotion downstairs. Don't kill my mom. Na heard Inari cry. Haha, Gaki. We were given orders and well follow them. Perhaps we'll kill you first, have some fun with your mom, then kill her, too. A man spoke. Clearly, there was more than one due to the we. But how many exactly? Na extended his sensory range and found 4 weak chakra signatures. 1 woman, a child, and 2 men. Yes, he could even tell apart the gender and age based on their chakra signatures. They were weak as they were not shinobi. But civilians still had a small trace of chakra. Obviously, the woman was Tsunami and the child was Inari, meaning there were 2 enemies in the house. Based on their weak chakra presences, they were probably bandits. Na could detect the fear and oppression in the environment. Kurama's negative emotions sensing. Well, it was time to step in. Faster than they could see, 2 shadow clones appeared behind the 2 bandits and drove Kana into the base of their skulls. When they called, Tsunami shrieked in horror at the sight. Naruto sighed as he walked down the stairs. Sorry for the blood, but I have zero tolerance for rapists. If they were here, it probably means Zabuza is back to attack Tazuna. I have to go now. In a burst of speed, he disappeared. When he neared the bridge, he noticed Zabuza's oppressive chakra laced throughout the air. Sakura and Zuna felt fear. Suri alarmed. He saw a formation of mirrors where Saruri was in another chakra signature. A female about the same age as them, but slightly older. Her chakra was very special. A Keek Genka perhaps. Right now, at his current speed, he saw her jumping out of one of the mirrors and lunging towards Suri with a sun. He ran into the mirrors and tackled the Uchiha to the floor before the person could even react. The enemy girl flew into the opposite mirror and remained there. Now that he had halted, he could not keep track of the girl's movements and it appeared as if she was in every single mirror. Suri blinked in surprise before pushing him off. Why are you here? Once you come in, you can't get out. Suri whispered fiercely. Naruto defended. She was flying at you with a sunbee and you appeared frozen there. I had to help. Wait, Suri asked in confusion. Yes, she's slightly older than us and wields a Kekai Genka, I think. How did you know? Suri asked, bewildered that he had such information considering that he had just entered battle. Now's not the time to explain. Focus on fighting her. She's fast, the blonde noted. No, too fast for me to avoid, but I can track her movements, Suri replied as she eyed the accomplice. The opposite is true for me. I have the speed to avoid her, but I cannot see her in time. All right, then, I'll be your eyes and you'll be my body. Suri decided. Na nodded and raised a kanai. The fake hunter Nin raised her eyebrow behind the mask. Then she pounced. 2000. Suri warned. Na swiped his hand outwards in the indicated direction and felt his kanai come in contact with the enemy's sun. With all his natural strength, he pushed back and sent the opponent flying back into the mirror. She then threw another sunbee at them. 5 o'clock, 30, 00, 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Suri relayed the visual rapidly. Na was having a hard time keeping up because he first had to register what she was saying, then associate it with the direction, and then act out accordingly. It didn't help that she began spamming directions as soon as Zabaz's accomplice began rapidly launching some bombs from random directions. The moment their coordination faltered was the moment the enemy struck. Like snow, the thin needles rained down on Naruto and he did not detect them in time. Quickly, Suri performed a substitution and took his place. She braced herself as like a relentless blitz of snow. The thin needles pelted her, turning her into a pin cushion for the thousands of espins which pierced into her body. Suri, Na cried as his teammate calloused to the floor. He kneeled down and propped up her back on his knee. Why did you do that? You could have let me handle it. The Uchiha gave a dry laugh even in her current state as blood dripped from her mouth. There was no time to think. My body moved on its own. Use a Tonkachi. And I promised myself that I would stay alive to kill Itachi. Is this really the end? She thought to herself. Well, at least her death could be useful. Fight on, Na, for me. Don't let your dream die. With those words, her eyelids closed shut and her body went limp. Na felt her pulse fade away. The blonde's eyes widened. His dream to be Hokage. Where was there time to think of that now when his own teammate was dying before his eyes? And no less for him so that he could live on. What kind of sick, twisted world did this kind of to him? Did he deserve it? Was there something he could do to change it? There had to be something. The fake hunter Nin spoke. She found a strength she never knew she had. Why? Because of a certain person who was precious to her. To save that person, she took his place knowing it was a trap. She was a true ninja worthy of honor. Is this the first time you have seen a friend die in battle? This is part of what it means to be a ninja. Shut up. Save me the eulogy. I'll kill you right where you stand. Na roared in savage fury. His chakra was released, exposing his powerful chakra presence to the world. A large surge of wind radiated outwards from him, and the stone floor beneath him cracked, almost shattering under the incredible pressure of his chakra. What is this chakra presence? It's so strong. Nothing I've felt before. Zabaz's accomplice thought. This chakra, the last time I felt it was from Sandaime Sama himself, and even then his was uncomparable to this. This is bad, thought Kakashi worriedly. What is that massive amount of chakra and killing intent? It far surpasses mine in ferocity, Zabuza thought. The rage and the bloodlust was tangible in the air, making it hard to breathe. Sakura and Zuna were choking and trembling badly as a seemingly new entity altogether entered the bar. TTLE. His chakra is getting increasingly potent. It's best to strike as soon as possible. The fake Oinin thought and readied some sunbombs. She flicked her wrist, releasing the projectiles at Naruto. The blonde swiped his hand at the incoming projectiles and they shattered after coming into contact with his chakra. What? The accomplice thought. A yellow Haori shrouded Naruto and four black orbs with purple glows floated behind his back. He gave a loud blood-curdling roar which pierced the ears of all who heard it. It shook the entire bridge and the ice mirrors shattered in a great explosion of chakra. The fierce winds died down as Naruto looked up. His eyes were full of hatred for the one who ended Suri's life. The accomplice shivered and realized something. You are way stronger than me. I'm sorry I failed, Zabuza-sama. I'm nothing but a broken and useless tool now. End my life. Na was slightly stunned by her thinking. What kind of logic is that? You are not a tool. You are a shinobi in your own right. The fake hunter Nin retaliated. And that's what a shinobi is. A person who is a tool for the person who buys his services. Since I failed, I have no right to live. Now end my life. Na was appalled. That's not what a shinobi is. You are a person, too. You have emotions and a personality. You do not deserve to die simply because you couldn't defeat an adversary stronger than you. That's stupid. Haku scoffed and tried to rile him up. Is that how weak your will is? When you swore vengeance against me for your friend's death, were they just empty words? Na growled in his wrist back. With a punch, he sent her crashing into the ground 10 meters away. She got up. Her mask now shattered to reveal the face of Haku. Come on, you can do better than that. Kill me. I deserve death for failing my master. She then heard the crackling of electricity a short distance away. Eyes widening, Haku suddenly said, "Wait, I still have a final use for my master." An ice mirror formed beneath her feet, and she dropped into it, disappearing. With Kakashi, earlier, I should end this quickly. I don't like the feel of that chakra. The Konohan thought, drawing a scroll from his vest and opening it. He cut his thumb on a kanai in his open-bottomed kanai holster located on his flak jacket. He swiped the blood in a line across the middle of the scroll and sealed it shut. Placing it between his thumbs and index fingers, he formed the hand seals: tiger, snake, dragon, dog. Slamming the scroll onto the ground, he uttered, Kuchio's Dodon Sui no Jutsu, summoning Earth-style Fang Pursuit Jutsu. Activating the Dodon Jutsu, lines of black kanji scrambled out of the scroll's ends and shot into the ground. The scroll vibrated vigorously as it did so until there were no more lines exiting it. 10 meters away where Zabuza was, the lines burst out of the ground and in a flurry of smoke revealed Akashi's Ninkans. An entire pack of hounds restrained the Kiranukan, allowing him to prepare his ultimate technique against Zabuza, forming the axe, rabbit, and monkey hand seals. Kakashi then brought his right hand palm up with his left hand clutching the other's wrist. A circle of Raiden chakra appeared around his feet with electric charges shooting up to his right hand like the surface of a plasma ball when touched. It charged his ultimate and original jutsu, which was even stronger than its progenitor, the Chidori. The S-rank Raiden Jutsu cackled loudly in his hand, the sound of the gathering of copious amounts of chakra. He slid his hand down and charged towards Zabuza, his sharing vision already tunneling and locking on its target. Reikiri Lightning Blade. Kakashi yelled as he sprinted across towards the restrained new cannon. Suddenly, an ice mirror formed above the space before Zabuza. From it, Haku dropped down and intercepted the assassination jutsu with her own body. Kakashi tried to stop, but it was too late as the sharing piloted linear movement of the Reikiri disallowed him from veering off course from his target. It shrieked like the call of a bird and pierced through Haku's chest, plunging deep into her lung cavity and destroying her heart with the influx of Raiden chakra. Zabuza smirked in satisfaction. Looks like I found a useful tool. Na heard him and yelled, "Was that all you ever thought of her? A tool?" HN replied and broke free of his Ninken bonds. Hefting Kubiki off his back, he pulled his sword arm back. Alarmed, Kakashi thought, he intends to take me out together with the child. He drew Haku in close to his body and back flipped away just as Zabuza swung his sword at them. When Kakashi landed, he put Haku on the floor and pulled his bloody hand out of her corpse. He placed 2 fingers on her eyelids and slid them shut. Gom Fuku wo Anarimasu, Kakashi whispered, wishing her peace in the afterlife. Oh. If only he knew how the afterlife was. He stood up and glared at Zabuza. You disgust me. He threw two canes which buried them's leaves deep into Zabuza's left shoulder. Angered, Zabuza charged at Kakashi, his left arm now limp from the injury. The Konohan threw a right hook at his face and performed a spinning heel kick which sent him back. Growling, the new cannon swung his sword horizontally, which Kakashi jumped up to avoid it. Then he swung it down in a vertical kanai. Kakashi nodded and tossed one over to the new Kennen who clutched it between his teeth. Ditching the Kubiki, he charged at Gato and his men with a savage cry. Ditching the Kubiki Cho, he charged at Gardoao and his men with a savage cry. There were no words to describe the ensuing carnage. It was simply this, a massacre. The demon of the mist cut down every single henchman standing there. Though some had time to slash or stab at him with their weapons while he was dealing with their colleagues, others were simply too intimidated to do anything as they were bisected by Zabuza's kanai. Eventually, Zabuza reached the magnate who was shivering in fear. The cornered god was literally between the devil and the deep blue sea, for Zabuza had him trapped right at the edge of the bridge. Don't kill me, I'll pay you, Goto pleaded. The new cannon shook his head. I grow tired of your lies, Goto. This is for Haku. With a single swipe, he disemboweled the tyrant while sending him down into a watery grave. Zabuza too was already extremely exhausted. His various injuries began to take their toll on him as he strode weakly to Haku's corpse before callousing next to her. Kakashi, he rasped out, gaining the attention of the nearby Jonin. I have a final wish. Bury me next to Haku. The white-haired Jonin nodded solemnly, watching as the swordsman passed away. The two would be buried with honor. The gathered villagers cheered loudly, forgotten broken. Naruto did not share the same sentiments as once the adrenaline wore off, he remembered that his teammate had died for him. His knees became weak when he came near the body of Saruri. Her corpse was riddled with numerous S-bombs. Tears of sorrow filled his eyes before they dripped onto the peaceful face of his teammate. Voice stricken with grief, he whispered, "You did not have to die. So why, Kami? Please tell me, at the very least, she deserved a funeral as grand as Zabuza and his accomplice." Her current state was not one Naruto would consider fit for burial. He started removing the sunbonds one by one. Suddenly, he heard a gasp. He halted his actions and listened carefully. Could he have been mistaken? There was no point in raising his own hopes only to have them shattered. But unmistakably, Suri's chest was rising and falling slowly while she took in deep breaths. Her eyes snapped open, much to Naruto's surprise and relief. Sayuri Na cried happily, hugging the seemingly revived girl. Though the Uchiha was secretly enjoying the warmth of his embrace, she was starting to find it hard to breathe. Dobby, she choked out. Can't breathe. Sorry, said Na, releasing her from his grip sheepishly. A thought occurred to him before he entered Six Paths Sage mode, utilizing his Yong power to heal her wounds. Instantly, it left him drained. It was him who coalesced into her chest, making her sigh as she stood up slowly with the blonde in her arms, bridal style. Let's go back. I'm so done with this mission, Saruri stated. Sakura could not help but agree. Kakashi was too tired to say anything and simply picked up the two corpses, carrying them along with him so they could receive a proper burial. Within days, stories of Naruto's heroism spread far and wide across the country. His huge role in combating the tyranny of God and gathering the villages through Inari was well received by the population of Nami, who named him the Nami no Aeu Hero of Wave. The other members of Team 7 were celebrated as well, of course, but none as much as Na. Only 12 and you've already gotten your first title. Hey, you're really something, Na Kakashi thought when he first heard of the news. This moniker of his came in handy when he went to retrieve his swords days later. Come in, came the voice of Shinoa over sounds of hammering. The blacksmith turned his head and noticed the blonde enter his store. It's Yuaki Narut, aren't you? Na raised an eyebrow. How did you know? I do not believe I disclosed my name in our previous meeting. RR chuckled. Oh, who doesn't know your name these days? You're the Nami no O. Na took that tidbit of information in his stride and replied, my reputation precedes me as the appropriate response, I suppose. Blah. Who am I kidding with all this formality? Let's get down to business, Shinoan. That's more like it, said the blacksmith as he took out two swords from his forge. The first was a chakudo, which had a black scabbard and matching hilt and was a larger size than a normal chakudo. This is what I call the Kusanagi no Tsurugi grass-cutting sword. Of course, it has none of the special properties granted by the legendary Kusanagi, but it is very durable and can cut through most things. Plus, the blade is made of chakra metal, so the user can apply chakra flow. RR declared with pride. I made it exactly as your friend requested it to be, so there should be no problems. As for yours, the second sword was pitch black with trims of grey, feeling evenly balanced when held. It had a black hilt connected to a handguard that dropped down on the right side. Attached to this elongated area of the handguard was part of the blade, which was completely black like the rest of the sword and outlined in a light grey. This I call the Aim no Murakumo, no Sarugi, Celestial Cloud Gathering Sword, my greatest masterpiece yet, the master blacksmith announced. Naruto's sweat dropped. That's a cool name and all, but is there something shorter? The man thought for a while before replying, you can also call it the Elucidator, for it cuts through even the thickest darkness to bring light. I'm not exaggerating. You could try. Na shrugged and brought the sword to a dark corner of the store. Indeed, the blade itself seemed to emanate a dim glow of its own. When swung, it left behind a trail of light that could potentially blind enemies. Anyways, as for its properties, I made it such that it was heavy enough to be wielded by you, but not others. Thus, it may feel balanced to you, but it's pretty hard to use for someone else. Also, given its weight, there is a lot of momentum behind the swings, which is why I designed the handle to retain your grip and prevent it from flying away. RR explained, the blade itself is extremely durable. I broke 3 handles shaping it. The material is melted from adamantine and chakra metal, so it glows in reaction to your chakra and chakra flow works with it too. Thanks, Shinyo-san. So, how much for the 2? Na asked while returning the sword to its adamantine sheath. They're completely free of charge, the blacksmith said. Na replied, these 2 are fine swords that can fetch a high price. I must pay for them or it will be a waste of your time and effort. Abba shook his head. Take them as gifts for your valiant heroism. If you truly wish to repay me, promise that you will use the swords for good, like what you did for our country. Do this and the swords will never fail you. Your debt will then be repaid. Na opened his mouth, but then closed it in acceptance of his gifts. Thank you, Shinyo-san. I will never forget this. Neither will I for your service to my country. See you again. Tuna's house. Yo, Sayuri, here's your Kusanagi. No, Sarugi, Narut shouted from downstairs. When the Uchiha's head peeked over the parapet, he tossed the chakudo up the stairs.
Isn't that too easy?
She caught the spinning sword and examined it as she descended the staircase. It's a beautiful work of art. I'm going to train with it now. Same for my sword, Na replied, and they went separate ways into the forest. While Saruri's aim was to integrate the sword into Harushia fighting style, the interceptor fist, Naruto's purpose was to learn as many moves as possible from Ashura and then perfect each and every one. Meanwhile, the bridge's construction was still underway. Of course, shadow clones dotted the huge bridge, providing security in case the remnants of God's mercenaries returned to finish the job. Thankfully, no such thing happened, and within 4 days, the bridge was finally completed. In accordance with their mission scope, they had to leave on the day of completion. As for their mission pay, They were already paid fully for the A rank as mysteriously someone had left a huge sum of money with the villagers one day, which amounted exactly to the money God took from them. Which blonde was it who launched this covert operation? Till today, it still remains a mystery. The villagers were sad to see them go and threw them a farewell party. The population of Nami was gathered to see him off and also mark the occasion of the first people to set foot on the bridge and cross it. Narat Nissan, I'll miss you, said Inari with tears in his eyes, said Blonde replied while wiping away the child's tears. Cheer up Inari, I'll be back one day. Promise, promise. They made a pinky promise to seal the deal. And with that, Team 7 set off. The villagers cheered as the Konohan left Nami Nankuni on the newly finished bridge. Zuna witnessed the retreating backs of the people who had saved his country and smiled at the thought of the blonde. That boy changed Inari's heart and Inari changed the people's hearts. That boy gave us a bridge to hope called Courage Bridge. Oh yeah, we need to name this bridge. Well, I have a perfect name for this bridge. Oh. What is it? Inari asked. How about the Great Narat Bridge? Zuna suggested that's a good name. Inari replied the villagers present cheered in assent. This name is in hope that this bridge will never crumble and will one day become a super famous bridge whose name is known throughout the world. Kanahagaka. Upon arrival, Team 7 went to the Hoage office as it was after 12 noon. In the morning till 12, the Hokage would be at the mission assignment desk giving out D2B rank missions. After 12, the Hokage would be at his office clearing paperwork and giving out the occasional A or S rank where security and privacy were paramount. Thus, Team Kakashi found themselves being debriefed in the third's office. After a lengthy report due to the upgrade of the mission ranking, they were finally dismissed. Sorry Sakura, shall we go for lunch together? Na suggested. The Pinkett shook her head. Sorry, my parents are waiting for me as the mission took longer than expected. The Haruno replied, walking away. What about you, Sayuri? Na offered. The Uchiha responded. Me neither. I have to go home and train. The moment she said that, his eyes lit up in excitement, making her regret her statement instantly. Can I train with you then? No. Please. I said no. Suri rejected firmly. The Uzumaki pouted and used his doggy eyes on her. Just this once, please. Seeing his irresistibly cute expression, her resolve crumbled away. Reluctantly, she finally said, all right, but don't mess up my house. Na gave a mental cheer as he succeeded with persistence. The blonde followed the Uchi to the clan district. Along the way, the two were the object of the villagers' stares of disdain. Why Aisha-sama with that I cannot allow that brat to taint her. That boy does not deserve to stand on the same ground as the great Uchiha-sama. These were among the many mutters and whispers of the spiteful villagers. Suri ignored them and said to Na, let's take to the rooftops. I don't like being watched by them like some procession. Na nodded and in a blur, both appeared on the roof of the nearest building. Up there, it was peace and quiet with nobody to disturb them. The only people who they crossed paths with were other shinobi, and even they didn't bat an eyelash as they sped past them, for they had urgent business of their own to settle. Within 2 minutes of free running, the duo made it to the clan district. From there, the two teammates returned to the streets and arrived at the Uchiha clan compound. It was a massive compound with cobblestone walls stretching far away in either direction of the main entrance. According to Saruri, the compound was 7 hectares large. It was a big clan after all. The main gate was styled like the entrance to a shrine with blue flaps hanging down from the top and the Uchiha crest emblazoned on them. Sori pushed the 2 flaps aside and entered. From the gate, a rocky path led to a huge cluster of houses, the center of which was the main house for the clan head where Saruri resided. On either side of the houses, huge training grounds with trees growing everywhere were abound. Suri opened the door and shed her boots. Come in, don't track dirt into the house. Na complied and was awed by the sight of Sori's house. It was a gorgeous traditional Japanese house with sliding doors and shuuji screens being a common feature. She came to the kitchen and said, sit down. We need to have something for lunch, so I'm making something. What do you want? So, you are going to eat lunch before training? Accused Na. Suri huffed and repeated her question. I don't know, ramen. The Uchi shook her head. You know what? I'll think of something. Stay still while I cook. She went around the kitchen and checked the closets for ingredients. After deciding what she wanted to make, she assembled the ingredients on the counter and pulled off an apron from a hook. With that, she got to work. Na observed the girl in a daze as she moved efficiently about the kitchen, her apron swaying in the wind with her graceful footsteps. Her hips looked like they were sashaying on purpose, making her look incredibly, almost as if the blonde slapped himself mentally. Had he really just thought of his teammate like that? But could it be? No. She hated his guts after all, with all the Dobby and Uatonaki thing going on. He then heard a chuckle from within his mindscape. Or so it may seem. She did save you twice in that wave mission already. You know, Kurama pointed out. Naruto shook his head. She's my teammate. Saving me is just a regular thing we do for each other. The Great Fox gave a shrug. Or so she may make it seem. Not that I favor Mars transmigrants. Just saying that there's more than meets the eye with that girl. This was the first time Naruto saw her as more than just a teammate, but rather a girl, and a girl with feelings at that. There was no more time to think. However, as Sori had finished making lunch and set the plates down at the table, they were honorary balls of rice wrapped with seaweed and topped with kachoy, dried, fermented, smoked skipjack tuna. Naruto eyed them suspiciously, as he did for every food that wasn't ramen. Are you sure this will taste nice? The Uchi scowled at him as she sat down. Just eat up, Dobby. It won't kill you. That didn't do anything to reassure him. Tadakamo's skeptically. He picked it up and took a small bite. Flavor burst in his mouth and his eyes went wide. It's delicious. I think I may have just found my second favorite food in the world. Sori shook her head in amusement. Of course it is. It is a special recipe passed down exclusively through the Uchiha clan. Her voice faltered halfway as thoughts of her dead clan plagued her. Na noticed this and looked up from his food. What's wrong? Sori, are you all right? The girl shook off his concern and said, never mind. Let's just eat. As soon as they finished, they jumped straight into training. First off was a light kenjutsu spar to assess each other's skills. While Saruri's attacks were more chained and fluid in transition, as they originated from katas in the interceptor fist, Naruto's moves were much more isolated but deadly in their own right due to his speed and power. As such, the Uchiha decided to teach Naruto some forms and stances as well as how to combine his movements. The Uzumaki, on the other hand, taught Sori how to improve and vary her strength and speed to confuse the enemy instead of sticking too much to the katas, which would increase predictability. Should an enemy have encountered it before? Both agreed that precision was of utmost importance. Next was a normal spar to test each other's taijutsu and enjutsu.
Of course.
Clearly, Naruto was more adept in taijutsu, and even with the Sharingan, it was hard for her to predict his next move. They were chaotic, but powerful, as his namesake, Maelstrom, suggested. Ashura's fighting style, after all, was tailored to counter the powerful eyes of his older brother. However, in enjutsu, Naruto fell short. While the blonde had a larger arsenal, Sori's techniques were more powerful in terms of destruction. With such evaluations complete, they decided to exchange jutsu and katas. I'll teach you the Uchiha Ru Higasa Numiha style Halo dance. One of my clan's famous kenjutsu techniques, most famously put to use by Shanshin no Shiui Shisu of the body flicker. A famous Uchiha, this jutsu involves chakra flow. So I suppose I'll have to teach you that first. Sori explained. Chakra flow refers to both the flowing of chakra through an object as well as any technique that increases the potency of a weapon by flowing chakra through it. Usually, elemental chakra is used to flow through bladed weapons in order to either dramatically increase their various pre-existing properties or to gain additional advantageous effects. The user must be touching the tool to initiate chakra flow, but direct contact with the weapon is not necessary to maintain chakra flow. Sori read from her clan scroll. Wind chakra is used in order to increase the sharpness of bladed weapons. So much so that in the hands of an experienced user, even small blades are capable of piercing substantial rocks easily, leading to the assertion that this chakra is unparalleled offensively in close and mid-ranged fights. This effect is achieved by utilizing two opposing chakra currents which are ground against each other in such a manner that they sharpen one another into fine pieces. Understood. Na nodded. Lightning chakra as applied to weapons provides an increased cutting power similar to that of wind with the addition of inducing numbness. However, this is instead achieved by inducing high-frequency vibrations within the object. Earth chakra seemingly increases the defensive power of an object to its utmost limits by further reinforcing the inherent properties of the material involved. This results in the material becoming as hard as diamond and an increase in the overall destructive power of physical attacks. Fire chakra engulfs the desired weapon in intense localized flames which follow the subsequent path of the object in question, incinerating anything which comes into direct contact. Lastly, water chakra, being a neutral clones, and just that. By then he had completed approximately 5 years and 9 months worth of chakra control exercises due to his daily 100 shadow clone abuse. Finally he was able to move on to the technique itself. On the third try he was able to produce a great coat of flames around his blade. It took another week of training before he finally managed to fling it with sufficient accuracy. He was overjoyed upon completing the technique, so much so that he even treated Suri to ice cream. He couldn't wait to use it on a mission in a real combat situation. Naruto's prayers were answered when his team returned from yet another Capture the Demon Cat mission. Danahan, it's been a month since your last rank mission, so this time I'm assigning you guys another, the agent Hokage announced. Yada, Naruto cried. Sayuri and Sakura smiled too. It had been a while since they last had a proper mission and their combat skills were getting rusty. This mission was assigned by the Fire Daimyo himself in the faith that we would be able to complete the mission without fail as with our track records. Thus, it is important that you do not fail, for the reputation of Konoha is at stake. Is that clear? Hi. Hokage-sama Team Kakashi chorus. It was obviously an important mission if it involved the feudal lord of Fire Country. This was getting interesting. Onto the mission details. The Fire Daimyo is holding his birthday party tomorrow evening. Many distinguished guests will be there as well, making it a huge target for any enemies wishing to eliminate the dignitaries present. Therefore, he has hired us for precaution to act as bodyguards. And particularly one of the team members had to be able to play an instrument. Here is brief. This is because he does not want to cause alarm to his guests. As such, he wants every bodyguard to be disguised as guests, with the one who can play the instrument disguised as one of the musicians present. Understood. Team 7 nodded. But who can play the instrument? Inquired La, blushing. Sakura raised her hand. I play the shamasen. The Hogue continued. You are the only shinobi left in my force who can play an instrument and is not currently engaged in a mission. Thus, I chose your team for this mission. Besides, seeing how you guys handled the mission to Wave, I can tell that this Genin team is far from ordinary in terms of combat prowess. In the rare event where a Jonin is involved, I'm sure between your 3 special eyes, 2 healers, and combined team, Orc, you can deal with that. Am I wrong? Team 7 shook their heads. Good. So don't disappoint me or the Daimyo. And since Madame Simi is already outside after collecting Tora, you guys are also to escort her back to the capital. Dismissed. For the second time, Team 7 left the village. The entire way, Madame Shi was chatting about life in the capital. Fortunately, they left their sensei to entertain the talkative woman. By the time they arrived at the capital, it was already 8 at night. First off, they stopped at the Fire Daimyo's palace. It was a lavishly decorated place with the reception hall filled with fancy furniture and paintings that were perhaps used to start conversations on their acquisition. The floors were carpeted with red velvet leading to other rooms which were similarly decorated. In the main hall itself, a platform rose above the rest of the room where the throne was located. There the feudal lord sat while awaiting the arrival of his guests. It was in this very room that Team 7 bowed down to the supreme ruler of Fire Country, his only equal being the Hokage. Please rise, the Fire Daimyo requested. His wife had already departed from the group and went to her husband's side. As I'm sure Hokage Dono has briefed you guys, my birthday party tomorrow will involve many important guests. Therefore, I would appreciate if you guys disguised yourselves to be as inconspicuous as possible. Your faces are surely easily recognizable. Sharing no Kakashi Nami no O. Thus I am giving you guys an allowance to buy the clothes you need. You can keep the clothes and whatever money is left. Thank you. Dame Yos-sama Team 7 Chorus. For now I have arranged for your accommodation at a hotel. Please rest well for tomorrow. With a bow, the team retreated after being given the address to the hotel. The daimyo seems like a nice man. He even knew our monikers, Naruto said once they left the palace. Kakashi shrugged. The daimyo keeps close tabs on his shinobi. They came to the address and found a grand hotel almost as luxurious as the palace. If they had to guess, it was for foreign dignitaries and other VIPs. They were assigned a penthouse suite with 2 bedrooms and 2 beds each. Obviously, the males couldn't sleep in the same room as the females, so they split themselves up by gender. It was a rather tiring day for everyone, and so they hit the sack as soon as possible. The next day, Naruto woke up to Kakashi shaking him vigorously. Seeing that his eyes were open, the Jonin spoke, "Wake up, nah." Sakura and Suri are already waiting for us downstairs. The boy sat up in the unfamiliar sheets and remembered that he was on a mission. Almost like a stark contrast to his earlier state. He leapt out of bed and into the bathroom. As soon as he brushed his teeth and packed the bed, he left with Kakashi for the first floor where breakfast was held in a buffet style at the hotel's restaurant. Suri and Sakura were already seated having maple syrup pancakes. The 2 males got themselves 2 servings of the same food and sat down with the girls. Between bites which seemingly passed through his mask, Kakashi ordered, "We shall begin planning." After breakfast, the genins nodded in unison. Team 7 returned to the suite and began planning. Kakashi took out a piece of paper and mapped out the main hall where the feudal lord's birthday party was to be held. Marking the platform with a cross, he said, "Sakura, as one of the musicians, you'll be positioned here on the platform. This will give you a good vantage point of the guests. Check for any suspicious activity." The Pinkett nodded. Kakashi crossed one of the Shuuji screens positioned near the Do's throne and continued, "I'll be standing here disguised as one of the DOS butlers. If any of you 3 notice anything suspicious, signal to me and I'll relay the message to the others." "What about us?" asked Na. "You and Sayuri will be disguised as a couple, one of the guests. This will allow you 2 to move freely among the crowd while remaining uninterrupted by any curious goo. As you 2 are busy doing stuff couples do." Na raised an eyebrow. The logic was sound, but it would be slightly awkward to work with Suri in that way. To his surprise, the Uchiha didn't complain and instead asked, "What is our attire?" "Ever the practical one, I'll leave that choice up to you guys, but keep in mind that they must fit your role." "Now, let's go do some shopping," Kakashi replied. The 4 took the due's allowance and left the suite. Later, Sakura got a pink floral kimono and a green obi to match. She performed a henge into an older woman who looked 25, resulting in a pretty mature and formal appearance. Kakashi got a tuxedo for his butler role and combed his hair forward such that he looked like his father. Hitaki Sakumo, the legendary Konoha no Shiroi Kiba Konoha's White Fang, said to be on par with the Densetsu Noin legendary 3 ninja. The 2 left first as they were to be at the party preparing beforehand. Naruto had acquired a black coat with an indigo long-sleeved collared shirt over which was a gray vest. He also donned black pants, a purple belt, and dark blue fingerless gloves. Concealed beneath the coat was the aim. No Murakumo, no Tsurugi. To fit his clothes, he applied a henge to look like what he possibly would appear like in the future. As for Suri, she bought a simple strapless black dress for the party, applying a henge to look like an older version of herself as well. Being a female Uchiha, she was already blessed with natural beauty. But seeing her gorgeous body was just too much for Na. For Cam's sake, she looked like Makoto, who was a pretty hot lady herself. The Uchiha noticed him checking her out and scowled. "What are you staring at, Dobby?" Na rubbed the back of his head sheepishly and blurted out, "Nothing.
You dig?
You just look very beautiful, Suri-chan." A faint blush tinted the girl's cheeks. She teased back, "Is that right? Well, you're pretty handsome yourself, Whiskers-kun." She drawled out the nickname and was rewarded with an embarrassed expression on Naruto's face. Perhaps he was sensitive about his whiskers. Whatever the case, they were about to be late for the party if they did not leave now, for it started at 5. Suri spoke. "Come on, the party is about to start. Remember, keep your eyes on the enemy." The blonde nodded firmly as he locked the suite door behind them. He then offered her his arm. "Shall we?" The Uchiha took it and both strode to the palace where an unknown enemy lay ahead. So guys, what do you think about this Naruto story? Tell me your opinion in the comments. And if you want more Naruto What If stories, make sure to subscribe to Universe of Naruto. Thanks for watching.